undercover, in uniform, and on patrol. It's all in an effort to send one clear message to criminals.
It's a good chance if we see you, you're going to go to jail.
Police officials say you can also do your part to prevent becoming a victim. They say when you're out and about doing your holiday shopping, be sure to always lock your car and hide any valuables in the trunk, or better yet, leave them at home. The bottom line, they say, use common sense and be aware.
And when you're at the stores, try to make provision to secure your items from each location. Don't let a lot of merchandise, your hard-earned, expensive merchandise pile up in the vehicle and be a target for suspects who want to break in and take.
As part of the increased enforcement, the LAPD North Hollywood Division is also parking its anti-shoplift mobile command post vehicle in plain view of shoppers and potential shoplifters. The vehicle will be stationed at various department stores throughout North Hollywood. Another clear message that officials are cracking down hard on crime this holiday season. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
When we talk safety around the holidays, fire safety is one of the most important topics. Whether it's a menorah, festive candles, or Christmas tree lights, if not done correctly, they can lead to the unthinkable. Here's Anna Marcos.
The kids in the Ambers family are playing and enjoying the holiday season, but it was a far different story last year when a burning candle fell out of their lit menorah and their home burst into flames.
We did everything right, and yet everything went wrong.
I smelled the smoke. We lit up the candles, and then when we got back from getting our presents, then one of the candles tipped over, and my brother saw it.
This holiday season, the Ambers family is joining fire officials in warning the public about the dangers of burning candles.
Fire safety in the home is paramount because we want to be able to live and celebrate the holiday seasons again and again and again.
If there was one warning that we could give the public about open flames, is use battery-operated candles.
At a separate news conference, LA fire officials demonstrated how quickly an electric spark can ignite and engulf a dried-out Christmas tree. So as you celebrate the holiday season, here are some tips. Don't leave burning candles unattended, or place the tree close to a heat source like a fireplace or heater. And don't overload electrical sockets when putting up lights. Here are some things you should do. Use trays with water under the candles. Water the Christmas tree regularly to maintain its moisture. And always have working smoke and carbon monoxide detectors in your house. As for the Ambers family, they have retired the menorah their child made at school. They're now using an electric menorah to light up their holidays instead. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
On a lighter note, if you're thinking of bringing home a pet this holiday season, one city leader is encouraging you to pay a visit to your local shelter. It may not look like work, but Councilmember Paul Koretz is in fact on the job as he cuddles kittens and visits with cats in cages on a tour of the Best Friends Pet Adoption Center. Koretz and LA Animal Services General Manager Brenda Barnett paid a visit to the Best Friends Pet Adoption Center in Mission Hills to spend time with some cuddly animals, but also to send an important holiday message to animal lovers everywhere. Adopt till you drop.
In the month of December, we are adopting cats out for only $25 in all of our shelters, and that is being funded by Best Friends Los Angeles. And so everyone come out and adopt a wonderful animal like the cat I'm holding here right now. Hey, sweetie.
The Best Friends Pet Adoption Center, along with the 6 LA Animal Services shelters, will be charging the discounted adoption fee every weekend in December. The $25 fee includes spay-neuter, vaccinations, and microchip for every dog, cat, puppy, and kitten. Launched on Black Friday, the Adopt Till You Drop promotion helped more than 300 pets find homes in its first weekend.
Best Friends operates one of our city shelters, and their whole goal in doing this is to help us save more animals' lives and to get Los Angeles to be a no-kill city by 2017.
I'd much rather save an animal rather than have one put down.
Sue Stevens is just the type of pet owner the shelters are looking for to help the city reach its no-kill goal.
We actually have a 6-month-old cat at home who needs a friend, a very rambunctious friend.
And since opening in January of 2012, The Best Friends Adoption Center has spayed or neutered 8,000 pets and adopted out more than 4,000 pets. Make that 4,001. While the shelters are encouraging you to take advantage of adopting this holiday season, it's not always a good idea to adopt a pet to give as a gift. With that said, for details on the December Adopt Till You Drop program, go to bfla.bestfriends.org for details. Police need your help to solve the murder of a 7-year-old boy, and it's official, homeowners in certain communities can paint murals on their houses if they want to. Also, a deal has been reached that will delay raises at the LADWP. These stories and more in City Beat. LAPD homicide detectives are asking for the public's help as they try to track down the suspects who fatally shot 7-year-old Talib Picante on Monday, December 2nd in the Mid-City area. It happened at 8:55 p.m. in the 1900 block of South Corning Street. Police say Picante was sitting in a car with his mother and her friend when 4 African-American men fired multiple shots into their car from a white vehicle. A $50,000 reward is being offered for tips leading to the arrest and conviction of the suspects. If you have any information, you are asked to call 1-877-LAPD 24/7. Los Angeles city officials flipped the switch on a new traffic signal at the intersection of Cohasset Street and Tujunga Avenue in North Hollywood. The new traffic light replaces a 4-way stop sign at the intersection, which has seen multiple accidents, including one fatality.
Very, very pleased that we're finally able to increase pedestrian safety here for the students here around Camellia Elementary School and for the other residents of the neighborhood.
This is really good to see this and to be a part of safety here for our community and especially for our school-age pedestrians.
According to city engineers, nearly 11,000 cars drive the stretch of Tujunga Avenue each day. The LA City Council has formally approved a pilot program allowing murals to be painted on single-family homes in northeast Los Angeles, Boyle Heights, and parts of South Los Angeles. The program was tentatively approved in early December, but has now received final approval by the City Council. This means private residences in the 1st, 9th, and 14th districts, represented by City Council members Gil Cedillo, Curran Price, and Jose Huizar, respectively, can paint murals on the exterior walls of their homes. The ordinance also allows murals to be painted on roll-down security doors on commercial and industrial buildings. The Los Angeles City Council has approved a new 4-year labor contract with about 8,200 Department of Water and Power workers that delays pay raises and revamps pension plans. Union members ratified the deal in September. LADWP workers had been scheduled to get a cost of living raise of about 2% on October 1st. The new agreement will delay that increase to 2016, saving the utility what city leaders estimate to be about $6.1 billion over 3 decades. The savings is expected to help control the cost of utility rates, which are still planned to increase over the next 3 years. The LAPD is helping to promote literacy with the help of a special library, one that is not much larger than a mailbox. Rasha Goel explains.
It's called the Little Free Library. It's a take-a-book, return-a-book gathering place where neighbors share their favorite literature by picking up a book and also bringing another one to share. And now the LAPD in the 77th Street area is housing a Little Free Library to help provide an educational and outreach tool to children in the area.
Anyone can come, borrow a book, and actually use the station to read the book if they like.
The free little library at LAPD 77th Street area will have books mostly for kids under the age of 16, and the books are free.
So often we have kids that wander around and are intimidated by a station, so now they can come in and actually have a place to sit down and read some books. So it's another great step at building the relationship with the community, and especially with the kids.
Douglas Chadwick, who built the little library, says it's a hobby that brings him great joy.
I like building things, and my wife and I both enjoy doing things for kids, and we're just so proud and humbled. It's amazing.
This is the first LAPD station to house the Little Free Library, with hopes to expand more throughout the other stations. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
The Little Free Library movement started in 2009 when one man in Wisconsin built a model of a schoolhouse on a post, which he stuck in his front yard with a sign that said free books. And the rest, as they say, is history. For more information on how to start your own Little Free Library, go to littlefreelibrary.org. An Olympic icon and Knott's Berry Farm are making the season brighter for a group of inner-city kids. As Gil Reyes reports, many of them are getting a priceless gift, their first time on the ice.
Two-time Olympian Ty Babylonia and everyone's favorite Beagle putting on a show that these kids won't soon forget.
I loved it. What I most loved was Snoopy.
The cast of Knott's Berry Farm's It's Christmas, Snoopy gave a free show to about 100 kids from LA's Best after-school program. LA's Best serves kids from some of our city's most at-risk neighborhoods. The show at downtown LA's Pershing Square, set up by LA's Department of Recreation and Parks.
They provide this opportunity for us. They understand what our organization is, and that most of our kids might not have this opportunity otherwise. Ice skating, let alone going to Knott's Berry Farm.
How'd you guys like Snoopy? Wasn't he great? Oh my God, we did it last year, and I guess it was a hit, and they brought me back this year, and I'm just over the moon about it.
The kids also got a chance to skate for free, most of them for the first time. Kids of all ages showed up, including former child star Butch Patrick, star of classic TV shows Lidsville, and of course, as boy werewolf Eddie Munster on The Munsters.
Happy holidays, everyone, and I hope to see you all next year. 2014 is the 50th anniversary of The Munsters, and I'm going to be around a lot extensively next month, so look for me.
Snoopy may be gone, but the holiday skating will continue here through January 20th. It costs $8 to skate, $2 to rent the skates here, so come on down. At Pershing Square, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
And in this week's list of things to do, the Nutcracker Ballet, a beginner's hike at Griffith Park, and the LA Zoo's annual reindeer romp. What's the holiday season without a production of the Nutcracker? Los Angeles Ballet's celebrated original production of the Nutcracker returns at UCLA's Royce Hall on Saturday and Sunday, December 21st and 22nd, which shows at both 1 and 5 p.m. each day. Join Uncle Drosselmeyer, Clara, and her beloved Nutcracker as they battle the Mouse King and his army, journey to the land of snow, and to the enchanted palace of the dolls. UCLA's Royce Hall is located at 340 Royce Drive. Ticket prices and other information can be found by going to losangelesballet.org. And it might be cold out there, but that won't stop Griffith Park Ranger Ernie Ibarra from leading a 3-mile beginner hike on Saturday, December 21st to the LA Zoo and the Autry National Center. As usual, meet at 8 a.m. at the Griffith Park Ranger Station Visitor Center at 4730 Crystal Springs Drive. The group will be stopping for breakfast at the farmers market, so be sure to bring cash. The hike will last until about noon. In the event of rain, the hike will be canceled. You can go to Ranger Ernie's Facebook page at facebook.com/Ranger Ernie for more details. And you can pay a visit to Santa and his reindeer at the Los Angeles Zoo. 4 reindeer are on exhibit at the LA Zoo from now until January 2nd, with the exception of Christmas Day. Aside from visiting the reindeer, the zoo is creating a one-of-a-kind holiday wonderland this year. Celebrate with activities including holiday crafts and photos with Santa from now until Christmas. The zoo is located at 5333 Zoo Drive. Go to lazoo.org for details. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. And about those reindeer at the LA Zoo, our own Anna Marcos paid a visit to the prancing guests and brings us this behind-the-scenes report.
For a little while. Look at those antlers. They're huge. Oh, the wonder of those mythical creatures. Yes, reindeer are real, and so are the antlers. And the LA Zoo now has 4 of the Christmas guests here for the holidays as it launches its annual reindeer romp. But if you're looking for Rudolph, you'll be a little disappointed. He's getting ready for his big night, bringing toys to all those kids.
So you didn't bring Rudolph?
No. They're Rudolph and Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen and Comet and Cupid and Donder and Blitzen. They're all working out.
Working out?
Absolutely. They've got to be in tip-top shape and just just one more month, you know. They got a full night. That's a strenuous thing. This time of year, they start getting buff.
So these girls, Belle, Jingle, Noelle, and Velvet, are filling in.
They look a little fatter than the ones I see.
I know, because they haven't been working out like our reindeer.
Santa said they have to be trained to fly.
But you think if they were trained, they could fly?
Yeah.
The reindeer are here on loan from a reindeer farm in Oregon, and they'll be here until January 2nd.
Bringing reindeer here to the zoo brings back a little bit of that wonder and awe that we all have inside of us from having been children, and understanding the wonderful excitement of the holiday season.
As a father, my children are older now, but when I ever went to the zoo, I always knew they experienced something different than any other place you could take them because of life in animals. So it's so special.
And it's not just the live reindeer the kids will get a look at this holiday. Santa will also be at the zoo every weekend through Christmas to take photos with the kids, and of course, you can always give him your Christmas wish list. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Having the foresight to plan for my business,
to plan for my future, to plan for my family provides a peace of mind.
having the foresight to sign up for Alert LA County.
Gives me that peace of mind when an incident happens close to my home.
or near my park.
Alert LA County is a free automated system which sends out information about emergency events via telephone, text, and email. Events may include disasters, evacuations, and safety notices. Register at alert.lacounty.gov.
Alert LA County.
Knowing when you need it most.
911 emergency, operator 271.
The city of Los Angeles receives over 2 million 911 calls every year. Hello, I'm Mayor Eric Garcetti.
I'm Chief Charlie Beck. A significant number of 911 calls are not emergencies.
911 should be used for emergency calls, such as preservation of life, a crime in progress, prevention of a crime, or a public hazard.
If your call is not an emergency, such as a loud party, verbal dispute, public nuisance, or lost or missing property, you can dial 1-877-ASK-LAPD to have the police respond.
Remember, call 1-877-ASK-LAPD for non-emergency calls.
Los Angeles Police Department, what are you reporting?
Hi, Santa here. Season's greetings to all of you from LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
Mr. President, that would be Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We call our attention to first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Fuentes moves. Mr. Huizar seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Ms. Martinez moves and Mr. Buscaino seconds.
Mr. President, before running through the agenda, there are requests to continue items 2, 3, and 4 to February 19, 2014. Item 8 to January 8, 2014. And item 58 to January 17, 2014.
Without objection, so ordered.
Very good, sir. Items 1 through 6 are items noticed for public hearing. Item 5 is a PCN in Council District 9, and a motion is required.
So on item that, I'm going to have Mr. Cedillo move and Mr. Buscaino second on that. You need that?
Mr. President, are you prepared to make the findings for that item?
I am. You don't think so? Item 1, Mr. City Attorney, give me a little help there. You're good at it.
We're on item 5, sir.
Let's leave it on the desk as recommended by the City Attorney. Thank you.
Very good, sir. We do have cards in for item 1.
Ms. Martinez.
I'd like to call item 6 special.
Okay. We're going to call item 6 special.
Very good, sir. There's since 2, 3, and 4 were continued. 1 is called special for cards. 5 is being held on the desk, and item 6 is called special by Councilmember Martinez.
Mr. Cedillo, you have something you want to add?
41 special and 57 sent back to housing.
Got it. We're not there yet, but we'll get there in a minute.
Very good, sir. Items 7 through 30 are items for which public hearings have been held. Item 12 has 3 committee reports, and a motion is required.
That's my gift.
Items 7, 9, and 30 should be held on the desk until such time as committee reports have been circulated.
So I'll take your advice. I'm gonna all the matters that are. Any members have any specials on those? Mr. Huizar?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good seeing you up there. Items 7 and 9 I know are being held on the desk, but I do want to call them special so that we could introduce them to full council. These are commission appointments.
7 and 9 special. Very good. Ms. Martinez?
6 special.
26 special. Good. Hold item 12 on the desk, Mr. Clerk. Okay, we have a balance of that. There's no speakers on the queue. Mr. City Attorney, you seem anxious.
I would request that council hold on to desk item 27. There's a possible technical amendment that needs to be made on that.
Item 27. $37. Is this 37 in this group? Next group. All right, good. Okay. Good. Okay. So on the balance, Mr. Clerk. Can we vote on the balance? Those that have had public hearings?
Yes, sir.
Let's on those on the balance of items. Let's open the roll on those. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
10 ayes. Okay. What's before us?
Very good, sir. Items 31 through 42 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
All right, let's for consideration. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote there before us.
Ayes.
And Mr. President, we should hold items 37 and 41 for substitutes.
37 and 41 for substitutes. Very good. Members, Mr. Blumenfield.
34 special, please.
34 special. Mr. Buscaino.
35, please.
35
Hold on
special.
the desk. Thank you, Mr. President.
You very much. Don't thank me. Thank the clerk.
You have 41 special.
41 special. Good. Very good. You got all that, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Good.
And, Mr. President, there are cards in on the remainder of those items, so the entire section should be held.
All right, so we'll hold it special as your advice. Thank you. They will be called special, those with cards?
Yes, sir.
Thank
and, Mr. President, item 43 is an item scheduled for closed session.
And we'll hold for Mr. Krikorian. 43, hold on the desk.
Very good, sir. It's too early for the special meeting, and the one item that we had on the continuation agenda has already been continued to January 17.
Very
So
good.
that would take council to presentations.
Presentation. So we have some very special people here today. And I'd like to call on Mr. O'Farrell, the great councilman of the 13th District, for a very dynamic couple who put together with an extra great voice of Los Angeles is going to be introduced here in a minute. Thank you. Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, last week, there were two major fires in the 13th District, one of them particularly tragic, where two people lost their lives in Echo Park. And when you have a tragedy of that magnitude, where 25 people are affected, including 2 fatalities and 4 injuries, including that of a 10-year-old girl, during the holiday season, the tragedy is just that much more compounded. In Echo Park, there was a fire, and we lost Rosa Fonseca, who was 90 years old, and we also lost Diego Alberto, 23 years old. And so what I wanted to do today, colleagues, was bring to everyone's attention right before we break for the holiday season and provide a reminder of fire safety in our homes, in our commercial buildings, in our apartment buildings especially. So what I'd like to do is introduce 2 outstanding individuals representing MySafe LA to talk a little bit about the services that MySafe LA provides and also give some tips that we all need to be reminded of in regard to fire safety. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Todd Lights and Mr. David Barrett from MySafe LA.
Morning, Mr. President, council members. Thank you very much for having us here. Councilmember O'Farrell. Some of you know us well. For those of you who may not, MySafe LA is a unit of the Safe Community Project, which is a California nonprofit public charity. We operate completely independently of any fire or city funds. We have a wonderful set of partners, including the Department of Homeland Security, Fire Corps, U.S. Fire Administration, Cal OES, and so on. And we teach fire and life safety. We teach this to 4th and 5th graders, to 6th graders, to families, and to older adults. And during the last 5 years, we've reached over 250,000 kids in person. We're in fire stations every week, and we bring those firefighters with us to schools. We work very closely with the LAFD. And as many of you know from hearing all of the budget discussions, budgets aren't just tighter, they're changing. And every large metro department is finding it increasingly difficult to deliver fire and life safety education. And so that's what our organization is all about. And this holiday, there's a few things that I think we'd like to all remember. First of all, Christmas tree fires don't seem to be as prevalent as they once were. At the same time, they are far more dangerous than many other kinds of fires. The most common fire we're going to see at any time during the year is in the kitchen. And it often is not as dangerous, although it can be. Christmas tree fires are very deadly, so it's very important that people keep their trees watered every day and that they properly dispose of them after the end of the holiday season. The other thing to bring to your attention is that during this time of year, we have guests, visitors. We bring people into our homes that aren't ordinarily there. And for many people in Los Angeles, that means a lot of people in the house. So that means we need to be very careful with heating, with lighting, and all of the things that people need to be aware of, which are ordinarily common sense, but during the holidays, we're busy and we don't pay attention. During the last 2 years, 42 people have died in this city in structure fires. In every single instance, there was not a working smoke alarm, with one exception. So keep that in mind. Smoke alarms save lives. So that you understand a little bit more about what we're doing to reach into neighborhoods at risk, I'd like our public information officer and instructor Todd Lights, who some of you also know, to tell you a little bit about what we're doing to promote fire safety in LA. Todd?
Thank you, David. Good morning, honorable council members. Thank you, Councilman O'Farrell, for your leadership on this issue. Very important. We're here to offer our collaboration with you and your staffs and your council districts because it's so important to bring the fire safety message out into the community. and we are an excellent conduit to do that with your help. We have a mission of reducing the number of fire fatalities in the city of Los Angeles through a combination of public outreach and education programs. A knowledgeable and prepared community is a safer and more resilient community. We can help you with that. You can help us with that. We're teaching 4th and 5th graders in at-risk neighborhoods in your council districts, from Sylmar down to San Pedro, how to prepare their homes for fire dangers and how to inspect for working smoke alarms. We teach them how to make and practice a family fire escape plan, to know what to do if their house is on fire, how to get out, stay out, and how to talk to 911 responders and first responders on scene. Now, our students who return the reports properly completed and who complete the program are awarded Junior Fire Inspector ID badges. Some of you might have gone through this program yourselves in LA schools at one time. And we give out free smoke alarms and batteries to anyone who wants or needs them. More than 1,000 free smoke alarms have been given away in just the past 6 months, and we have many more to give away. This is all part of our Fire Smart LA initiative. That's for kids. But here at MySafe LA, we're also teaching older adults, giving them go bags that have key fire safety components in them. We're giving them free smoke alarms as well. And we're teaching them to not be afraid if a fire breaks out at their home or apartment, to know what to do. That includes those in high-rise buildings, in converted garages, disabled, and just about everything in between. We also conduct drills out in the community that include the LAFD and children. We do this every year. As an example of this, the Great Shakeout this past October, we developed and executed a multi-casualty drill at Rosemont Avenue Elementary School, in, giving firefighters the opportunity, a rare opportunity, to work with children. We create a plethora of video and online messaging for fire safety. This is all available at your disposal. Contact us, partner with us, collaborate with us, and we can get the safety message out to the community and create a more safe Los Angeles. Thank you very much, council members, for your
Thank
attention.
you very much. Mr. O'Farrell, if you want to wrap it up.
Yes, in wrapping it up, when I grow up, I'm going to have a voice just like Todd Lights. I also want to thank some incredible responders to this tragedy of last week. The Los Angeles Fire Department, and I want to call it specifically Fire Station 20 and Fire Station 6. There were 100 first responders that put out this fire because it could have been a whole lot worse. Also, the American Red Cross, who was on the scene. And then, lastly, the Dream Center of Echo Park, who are housing many of the families, many of the displaced. The entire community, the entire block, they were traumatized by this fire. And I ask colleagues and the city of Los Angeles that we keep these families in our prayers this holiday season. Lastly, we're having a blood drive here at City Hall today and tomorrow by the American Red Cross at the 4th floor media room from 9 to 3. And if you get this message and want to give blood, please come to City Hall and do so. Thank you so much, and may God bless.
Mr. O'Farrell, thank you for our very special guest, MySafe LA. Give them a big hand and follow their lead. Check your smoke detectors. Now, thank you. From the 13th district, we go to the 15th district in a minute, but we're going to call item 30 right now because they circulated the report. Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir. That would bring us to item 30. It is the Budget and Finance Committee report has been circulated. A public hearing was satisfied in committee. No members, when running through the agenda, called this matter special.
And no speakers on the queue, so let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
And forthwith on that item. And back. Now, Booster Buscaino, very special young people here.
Yes.
Turn it over to the councilman of the 50.
It's great to be here with our leaders, our teen leaders from Wilmington. I'm so blessed and honored to be with their company. These are members of our Boys and Girls Club of Los Angeles Harbor Wilmington branch Keystone Leadership Team. They submitted an application to participate in this year's Taco Bell Business Camp. And a little background from this Taco Bell Business Camp. If selected for participation, the staff chooses 5 Keystone members to attend Camp Taco Bell. At this camp, they learn the fundamentals of running a business, including development to operations, financing, and marketing. The selected students spend 2 days at the Taco Bell headquarters in Irvine. These were the students that were selected. They learn the practices and principles that they can use to create their own menu item, and also created an execution plan for how to market their items. For some of our students, this was a rich educational experience. Some of the Keystone members before you have never had an opportunity to tour the headquarters of such a large company, and some have never had an opportunity to stay a night away from home. The students' work paid off. The top 3 sites faced off in a competition to sell their unique menu items for one day only, and our students from the Wilmington Boys and Girls Club sold their menu item called the Taquito Rico at a Wilmington Taco Bell on Pacific Coast Highway in Avalon. With the support of the club staff, their families, and local customers, they were able to generate over $800 in sales and won first place in the Taco Bell competition, earning them a prize of $9,500 in scholarships and grants that were divided among the group. Our office, the Wilmington community, and the Wilmington Boys and Girls Club could not be more proud of our students. As Keystone members, they are also actively involved in the college-bound program at the club, aimed at ensuring students that are on the right path for college admission. These students will go to college, further their professional development, and will hopefully return to Wilmington upon graduating as young professionals, contributing to the quality of life of their families and their community. I'm proud of their hard work, their determination, and their ability to make smart choices in life. They have shown exemplary leadership and entrepreneurial skills and will continue to make us proud in the years to come. Joining us here, Banning High School Principal Mr. Rudy Mendoza, another fine product of Wilmington, and Vice Principal Mrs. Jackson. I also want to acknowledge Adele Hodge, who was once a club kid and currently serves as assistant to Club Director Hilda Chacon. And Adele was also helped kick off my teen CPAB group, partnering with teens with LAPD back in the day. Right, Adele? I'm so proud of you. Now you're mentoring these kids. We love you, Adele. So proud of you. We celebrate the success of these students, colleagues, and others with these individuals who day in and day out dedicate their lives to the success and empowerment of our youth in Wilmington. I present you today the pride and joy of Wilmington, our next generation of leaders, the Boys and Girls Club Keystone members. Give them a round of applause. Matthew Negretti, Diana Meza, Julie Torres, Alexandra Arredondo, and finally the Keystone president, who you'll now hear from, Miss Marisol Cervantes. Let's give Marisol a round of applause. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Marisol Cervantes, Keystone president. On August 7, 2013 was definitely a day to remember. It was the day that the Taco Bell Foundation and the Boys and Girls Club of the Los Angeles Harbor gave my team and I the opportunity to attend this year's Taco Bell Business Camp. Throughout the rough yet amazing courses presented at this camp, we were able to cooperate as one team and take advantage of the wonderful experience. This team took on a huge challenge, and we saw it through to the end. We all got to see how important it is to communicate with each other and to remain committed to the task at hand. We reminded each other that negativity was not the key to success, and to continue to push forward despite the obstacles we had to overcome. Workshops, hands-on experience, and advice from the Taco Bell franchise owners guided us along the way. We are proud to be able to say that the Wilmington High School Center has won this competition for the past 2 years, 2012 and now 2013. At this moment, we would like to thank the Taco Bell Foundation because we are honored to have been able to take part in such an experience that no words can describe. We would also like to thank our local Taco Bell from Wilmington for being supportive and encouraging us from the beginning. But most importantly, we would like to thank you, the LA City Council, for representing us, the youth of this community, and remembering that we are your future. Thank you.
All right. Good job, Marisol. Just to let you know, Marisol, one of these seats will be available for you whenever you're ready. We're so proud of you, and that goes for the entire group here. This is your place here. We're so proud of you. I want to welcome the principal of Banning High School, Mr. Rudy Mendoza, to say a few words as well. The pride and joy, another fine product of Wilmington. Mr. Mendoza.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilman Buscaino. First and foremost, I want to just say that I am the proud principal of Banning High School, and I am very honored to be here this morning in honoring our students who are the best that our community can offer, that our high school can offer. They are representatives of those particular students at our school. I can remember when they were going through the challenge. I remember seeing them at the local Taco Bell because I am still a resident of the Wilmington community, and I can remember seeing them marketing their products outside of the local Taco Bell and really working hard. And to be here today and sharing with the council and recognizing my students, I can't thank you enough, and tell the students that are behind me how proud I am of them and their hard work, and that once you put your mind to it, you will persevere and be successful. And I know that they will do outstanding things when they go out into the real world after graduation in June. We're looking forward of them being a example of what good things come out of Wilmington and what great things come out of Banning High School. So congratulations to all our students. Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, colleagues. And doesn't our fine council president look great on that three-piece suit today?
Thank you,
You look
Mr.
sharp, Mr. President.
Buscaino.
Thank you. We're going to take some photos in the back. Thank you, colleagues.
All right, again, thank you and congratulations. Thank you for all the good work that you do. Mr. Clerk, we now want to move to item 31, and it's been called special by cards. Mr. Daniel Gus and John Walsh. This is on item 31.
Good morning.
Good morning.
1 minute only, please. 1 minute only. I think you have a typo in the first word. It says exemption. I think it should say extortion because you're a bunch of racist assholes. Thank you.
Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. That goes a double for me. Actually, you haven't been too bad on stalling foreclosure evictions, although when it came to really going after the banks, you did nothing. This concerns state CEQA guidelines. We, on the subject, 100% for state CEQA. You want to get rid of state CEQA and replace it with something else because our big victory in Hollywood was a CEQA victory. The people out there, the only thing that protects your homes from their tearing the buildings apart is state CEQA. We proved that. A bunch of us got together, hired lawyers, and we beat everybody here. And our homes in Hollywood are protected now because of state CEQA. And that's why we want to keep it, and Jerry Brown wants to tear it apart. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Okay, now let's prepare to vote on. I do not have a card. Is there a card from Mr. Ocala on 31? Mr. Ocala, your card has been found. Please come forward. Item 31.
I wish to speak only 1 minute because you really don't need much time to say why are you bailing out the banks and let the people swim in excrement. I'm going to start using better words, okay? I don't want to blast you like the last guy, even though he's got a real cause to blast you. Anyway, what are you doing with the banks, in collusion with the banks, in real estate, in basic real estate? You are robbing the people. That is what you're doing. And you should not be doing that. Hold my time. I hope you have a lousy Christmas.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, before we go to the next item, I'd like to recognize Mr. Englander.
Mr. President, we've got a very special group here today, Magnolia Science Academy from Northridge. If you guys can all stand up, be recognized. They're considered one of the most successful charter models in the country, emphasizing on math, science, and technology. They're here as part of the mayor's initiative, and wanted to thank them for coming to visit City Hall and wish them happy holidays. Happy New Year, guys. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to, in fact, you know what, Mr. Clerk, we have a bunch of ordinances to deal with. We do have 12 members. I think we should try to act on those issues first. So if we could recess the regular meeting and go into the special meeting.
Very good, sir. Bloomfield, Bonham, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Carrasco, Corrigan, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 12 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, we want to start off, I believe it's item 45.
We have items 44 through 53. They're items noticed for public hearing. Mr. President, all items have cards.
Okay, 44 is Mr. Gus, Mr. Daniel Gus on item. Mr. Gus passes on 44. There are no other cards on 44. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now we're moving to item 45, which was called special by Mr. Gus, Daniel Gus, and John Walsh. 45.
Good morning. Okay, well, I'm in favor of this, but I think you guys are a absolute criminal element. Go fuck yourselves.
John Walsh. That's impossible to do, you know. John Walsh, I've tried it. HollywoodHighlands.org. Okay, number 46. I have the floor. Sit down, Mr. Labange.
Mr. Labange, hold Mr. Walsh's time.
Hold my time.
I'll take.
Mr. City Attorney, will you note the previous speaker's comments so we can let the court know? We'd like to see the FCC standards be here in our public meeting.
I hear you, Mr. Labange. Let me try to handle that. Okay, give Mr. Walsh back his time. His
you understand
full
her?
allotment.
He's a white man. He
No,
tells
just
you
come
what
on.
to do.
Come on, Arnold.
Okay.
I mean, come on, Miss
Number
John.
4, let me tell you, our speech is protected by the Zuma Dog ruling. I'm not going to use it, although I agree 100% with him. Now, what we're dealing with here, this is the most important thing here for the people out there, lighting districts. All of a sudden, they create a lighting district, and then they blackmail you into paying for the lighting district. At certain lighting districts, they don't have to pay. The huge buildings, they don't have to pay. The new buildings don't have to pay. But if you're a homeowner, especially if you live in a minority neighborhood, which is anything east of La Brea, they make you pay. And look what it says here. It says, Bureau of Street Lighting to assure that the street lights are not installed and are removed from service if previously installed. They're trying to black you out. They're trying to black you out. That's what this is. Read it, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, thank you. Let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll. I don't have a card for Mr. Akala on 45. So if we could open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That brings us now to item 46, which is, I have you on this one, Mr. Akala. Juan Akala on item 46, and Mr. Gus.
I wish to speak
Item
on
46.
only 1 minute. Continued consideration of hearing protests and ordinance. First consideration relative to the improvement and maintenance of Kingsley Drive and Fountain Avenue street lighting. It's a no-brainer. We do need lighting in our streets. I ride the streets of LA, and most of them are really crappy. You know, I'm on a bicycle because the police department stole my vehicle. The police department stole my vehicle.
Speak to the item.
Well, yeah. I see how the streets are, and you keep collecting money, and they don't get fixed. I see
This
the same
is
holes
regarding
on
the lighting, correct, Mr.
Yeah,
Singh?
well, when I'm riding my bike and I don't see the hole that I'm going to fall into, we need lighting. I'm talking about lighting, safety, fixing everything. It doesn't get done. I only spoke 1 minute.
Okay, that brings us to Mr. Gus on item 46.
One minute. 1 minute only, please. I support this motion. And this is not broadcast TV. This is cable. Mr. Labange, this is cable, not broadcast, fool.
Daniel, stay on the item. If we could prepare to vote on this item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
So it should be item 47. Held special by Mr. Gus on item 47. Passes. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Now we're on item 48. Mr. Gus called this one special as well. Item 48. Pass. Let's prepare to vote on this one, members. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
49. Mr. Gus, item 49.
1 minute only, please. 1 minute only, please. I support this item. You respect us, we respect you. That's all I need. Just respect us. We'll respect you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Or Mr. Gus, thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Item 50. Mr. Gus, you could get exercise walking back and forth. Daniel Gus on item 50. Wait a minute, wait. And John Walsh, I have a card on you. Yes.
1 minute only, please. Thank you. I support this item. I hope I made my point clear. You respect us, we will respect you.
Stay on this item, Daniel. Thank you very much. Mr. Walsh.
He who smirks last smirks best. I'm smirking.
Let's stay on the
HollywoodHighlands.org. This is incident concerns East Hollywood. I live on the edge of East Hollywood. This concerns first consideration of protest. Again, the people in this area do not believe they should be paying an extra tax for lighting. And this is a side street lighting, Hobart and Marathon Street lighting district. In fact, that's where Paramount Pictures is located. Paramount Pictures should be paying for this lighting, not the people in the neighborhood. They're going through a whole series of hearings, and now you're going to crush them. Remember, they want you alone and in the dark. The worst city council in California. HollywoodHighlands.org, J. Walsh Confidential.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now we'll move to item 51, which is Mr. Daniel Gus, if he wants to come forward.
One minute only, please. I agree with this item. I think I've made my point. You don't fuck with us, we won't fuck with you.
Stay on the item. Stay on the item, Mr. Gus. Well, wait, Mr. Labange, City Attorney, Mr. Labange, calm down. Mr. Gus, I thought we were going to have a truce to you and I set down.
Yeah. Mr. President.
I guess you don't want to do that. Yes, Mr. Krikorian.
Yeah, if I may, part of respect involves respecting the members of the public who are here in the chambers, including the elementary school children who come to visit us to learn about the City Council. And I would say that part of respect would involve using appropriate adult language, not profane language like we have people come up here and use. Now, it's not within our, it may not be within our powers, it may or may not be within our powers to shut people down when they use profanities, but I would certainly expect that at least the members of the public who come here to speak at that microphone on television and in front of the elementary schools in this chamber would be mature enough to act like adults. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Krikorian. Now we'll go to item 52, Mr. Gus. He's out of time. Daniel, I've been informed you're out of time on this section of today's agenda. So let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
And that brings us to what item?
Item 53, sir, called special for cards.
Okay, and it was called by Mr. Gus, who I've been informed is out of time, so we can vote on that item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now, Mr. City Clerk, it's my understanding we can just move forward and vote on item 54?
Yes, sir.
Without taking the comment cards?
Public hearing was satisfied in committee on that item,
All
sir.
right, so on item 54, let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. President, that brings us to item 55. That's a matter called special for cards.
Okay, on item 55, Mr. Sachs, Mr. Walsh, I think I have a Gary August, Mike O'Gara, Dr. Tom Williams on item 55. Please come forward. Mr. Sachs, good to see you.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, sir. Neighborhood council stakeholders, I take it this is surprisingly quick for the city attorney's office to come back with this legislation. Thought this would be buried, so I'm very surprised. But empowering the city neighborhood councils, the neighborhood councils, again, this may allow you to know what a stakeholder is, how you become a neighborhood council member, but getting some funds that go to the council district offices and end up in the council district representatives' hands is different than getting some funds that go to the council district. The sources of that revenue flow throughout the council district. Bus bench revenue, pipeline revenue, AB 1290 revenue, the trash, Sunshine Canyon amenity landfill revenue, billboard revenue. All those things are located throughout the council district. Some may be proportionally in one area than another. But all that funding ends up in the council district office. That's disproportionate. That needs to be addressed as long as what you have the boundaries for making a neighborhood council stakeholder responsible for areas in the neighborhood council or in the district in and of itself. The funding source, that needs to be addressed next.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, I believe you're next.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Point of order. If you're under 18 years of age, raise your hand. There was nobody in here when he used the F word under 18.
No, Mr.
Okay,
Walsh,
you
stay on the
interrupted
item.
me.
Stay on the
HollywoodHighlands.org.
item.
Calm down. Neighborhood council stakeholders. I moved here in 1966. I came back in 76. I lived here since then. Although I don't belong to the neighborhood council, I think they do some good work. I'm not going to give you my opinion on something. You know, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't talk. You'll have to say that. I sit down. I don't spend 2 minutes talking about something I don't know about. So the people after me are neighborhood council members, and listen to them. And I think they'll tell you to vote no on this. HollywoodHighlands.org. It really burns your ass, doesn't it?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Gary Agus, I think it is, or please pronounce it for me.
Gary Agus.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Very common mistake, thank you. I'm a member of the Sun Valley Area Neighborhood Council, but I'm here as a private citizen. I have concerns about the language of the item, but my major concern is the timing of the item. I was on the committee that made the recommendation to the Board of Neighborhood Committee commissioners to change the wording to similar to what it is. But if the council acts on this now, well, not today, our elections start the 1st of March. So it changes in our bylaws, changes that we've already started to run our ads for our candidate selection, and this is a bad time for us to be changing the definition.
Excuse me.
That's all I have to say. It's a bad time to change the definition because of our elections.
But thank you for coming down. Michael Guerra.
I, too, am a member. My name is Michael Guerra. I live in Sun Valley for the last 40 years, and I'm a member of the Sun Valley Area Neighborhood Council. But this came up on us all of a sudden, so we haven't had time to address it at the Neighborhood Council. I read the piece of paper from Mr. Fuhrer. There's things in there that I think definitely have to be vetted. The fact that it was passed out of the Education and Neighborhoods Committee was untimely, to say the least, because we have to discuss what their definitions are. And I think there's some ambiguity in there for certain. Our candidate filing period starts this coming Monday. It will be over before you fellas and lady vote on this. And what are we going to do? Redo our candidate filing thing? Our candidate filing period is up January 22nd. This thing's going to come in the middle of February, and our elections are in March. This is too little, too late. You got to put this aside because it's just going to screw up all our candidate filing, and we're going to start at scratch. And I don't know how you can change the requirements for a candidate in the middle of a filing period. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Williams.
Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council Emeritus, but I will be filing for candidacy. Why? Because I'm a stakeholder. Definitions of stakeholders should be as broad as humanly possible, because how do you have 95, let's say 100 neighborhood councils, each with, say, 20 people on the board, committing at least 5 hours a month to their neighborhood? Anyone that is willing to declare themselves as a stakeholder should be accepted and congratulated that they're going to spend their time trying to help our neighborhoods. We have had non-resident stakeholders. They went to the churches. They went to the schools. We have Cal State LA. Is that considered a stakeholder? Yeah. So broaden it. Don't restrict it. Yeah, there's been some abuses. There's always going to be some abuses. But in general, it should be the greatest mandate for all residents, not necessarily citizens, but residents of any neighborhood. And those people who go to the churches, go to the day schools, go to the recreation centers, participate in our sports teams, everybody should be allowed to be a candidate. The community can vote and determine who will be the board of directors. So please either continue this or vote it down. That's the easiest way. Thank you.
Mr. Weezar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, as you recall, back in October, we approved my motion asking the city attorney to amend the ordinance to eliminate the factual basis stakeholder and replace that with a much more clearly defined community interest stakeholder consisting of someone, for example, who is a member of an educational, nonprofit, and/or religious group in the community. We are putting an end to the so-called Starbucks stakeholder, the person who comes in the day of a neighborhood council election with a single receipt and demanding to vote in a community that they have no interest in. That will no longer be accepted, which is what happened in the 2012 Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council elections, where a number of people came in on a pivotal issue and simply voted by using a receipt that they got from the local coffee shop. Beyond shoring up the ordinance itself, Dunn and the city attorney have set up some sensible administrative language for eligibility requirements. Most importantly, they state that what will not be allowed in establishing if someone is a community interest stakeholder, either to vote or run for office. The admin language states receipts from business in the neighborhood will not be the sole or only thing accepted. So that will take care of the Starbucks stakeholder. I think this will go a long way to improving the elections for neighborhood councils. I want to thank Dunn and the city attorney for their work on this. They've come a long way, and they've had a number of meetings with many neighborhood councils. Many of them, a lot of the language and ideas here are from the neighborhood councils themselves. I want to thank my staff, Rick Coca, for working on this. And if I could ask the city clerk, can we ask, there was a concern raised about elections coming up, and if that may pose an issue, changing the ordinance at this time for them to timely run their elections and their concerns. How many elections are coming up for neighborhood councils in March?
You know what, I'm going to have my staff bring up the actual numbers.
We just want to make sure that if the issue was raised by one neighborhood council here, that they will not be able to run their elections if we make this change. I just want to make sure that we clarify whether they can or cannot with this change.
Okay, Holly Walcott, interim city clerk. The candidate filing has already started for at least one, maybe two neighborhood councils. Our solution to the ordinance going through would be not to change any board structures at this time. It just changes the definition of some of the seats. So as they would come through right now, we would give whoever comes in under the old definition a conditional approval of their conditional certification of their candidacy, with a notice that there is a new ordinance going through, and that if the ordinance is adopted and enacted, that we would give them 3 days to provide the additional documentation.
Okay. So in your view, my last question, Mr. President, is can those elections continue if we adopt this today without posing any major problems?
I'm going to defer to the city attorney.
Yeah.
Deputy City Attorney Darren Martinez. Yes, there shouldn't be any difficulty from a legal standpoint in adopting the definition. The Department of Neighborhood Empowerment and the city clerk will simply provide those neighborhood councils with a notice to the effect of the definition is changing, and we'll put you on notice that further requirement or further proof may be required at such time that the elections are actually conducted.
Great. Okay, thank you. Colleagues, I urge our I vote We've run this through a number of neighborhood councils, done. They all support and actually came up with the actual language. I think, as we heard today from our city attorney and our city clerk, those elections that were slated to go forward in March can continue, even if we adopt this today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's prepare. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Whenever Mike O'Gara comes up and speaks, I listen and want to make sure that his concerns are taken care of. He's been one of our great San Fernando Valley Neighborhood Council leaders. But I think Mr. Huizar has addressed some of the process issues here. And I just want to say this is a step that we've needed to take for a very long time. When I chaired Education in Neighborhoods, one of the great aggravations was the lack of a usable definition for stakeholder, and the fact that so many people who have really no connection with a neighborhood at all can influence the outcome of an election. This ordinance takes a big step in correcting that fundamental problem. And if there are adjustments that need to be made, we can do that, in a subsequent ordinance. But I think it is important to move forward on this at this time. Let me just ask staff, this definition that's included in the city attorney's proposed ordinance is consistent with the language that the council approved when we approved the motion instructing the city attorney to draft this ordinance, is it not?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so the language has been out there and available to the public for some time, has been, subject to consideration by the neighborhood councils, at least since the matter was before the council in motion form. So I think there has been adequate notice. But if there are specific concerns that specific neighborhood councils have, we can certainly consider those and address those in subsequent ordinances. So with that, I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Ms. Martinez.
Hi, just to be clear, I want to make sure that the question that the Sun Valley Neighborhood Council folks raised, so if we vote on this today, would this impact their March elections? And how are we going to remedy that if it does?
We do not anticipate it impacting the March elections because the filing will close and then we will give the people extra time to provide the additional documentation to qualify for those seats. And this would be well before March.
So this goes into effect in 30 days?
30 days after publication.
When do the filings for the March elections end?
When do the filings, I need the filing period.
I just want to make sure we understand what the timing issue is here.
Gracie Liu, General Manager for the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. The change in the ordinance does occur during the candidate filing period for the first 4 regions and elections in March, and that's in the Valley. What we have done, when you file as a candidate, if you are filing as a factual basis candidate, we have provided information up front to tell them we will need this definition is in the process of being changed, and we may need additional information from you to qualify for your seat. So last election cycle, this actually really only affects the factual basis candidate who brings a receipt from a business to qualify as a candidate. And last year we had 1 person do that. So most of the folks that are going to try to qualify under a factual basis candidacy typically, are working, living, or have some nonprofit connection or something pretty substantial already. So we don't anticipate a huge effect of this stakeholder change on the candidate filing period.
There are 5 regions that will have their election in March. That there are 42 neighborhood councils. The first filing period began Monday, December 16th, and it will close in sometime in January. But again, even if it closes, we will give those individuals 3 additional days to provide documentation other than if they are only providing a receipt.
Mr. Huizar.
Well, thank you. And Mr. Krikorian reminded me of the Neighborhood and Education Committee's involvement in this. Thank you for your input. There was some robust conversations there in your committee, and also with Mr. Parks provided some input. So I want to thank you for that. And finally, I want to remind everyone that these are general guidelines. We want to support and continue the autonomy that neighborhood councils have from the city council and the city. So we provide them general guidelines. They can make them more stringent, but we are taking care of the Starbucks candidate or voter. And what I heard right now, which is if anyone is affected in March, it's only those that are trying to correct, right, the Starbucks voter to begin with. So it's actually helping us in that respect. So those are the only people that will be affected in March. So thank you. I ask for your aye vote, and our neighborhood council system has been working great. It's a continuous, ongoing correction and modifications as we go forward to provide the type of democracy that is very unique than any other city in this country. So thank you for your work as well, City Clerk and City Attorney.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now we're going to move to item 56, called special by Mr. Arnold Sachs, followed by John Walsh.
Everything's forthwith?
In fact, all of the, if we could have all items forthwith.
Okay.
Okay, so again, Mr. Sachs and Mr. Walsh.
Yes, thank you again. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. This is a grant, $300,000, a Community Development Block Grant Fund for Council District 14. And so I'd like to congratulate Council District 14 on getting that money. But when I look at my agenda, I see 15 council districts. So that means there's 14 other council districts that could be and should be in line for Community Development Block Grant funds. So why not make this, I see on your agenda when you do lighting districts and you do REAP programs, it's multiple districts, it's multiple areas throughout the city. Why not do this for Community Development Block Grant funds? How much is available to the city? And $300,000 times 16 is $4.8 million. 15 is $4.5 million. Why not allow the communities to see funding actually going to work within their communities? 15 districts, 45 projects. If you go for 3 projects per district, that's 45 projects. You do that for, like I said, street lighting. You do that for the REAP program. You have specific programs there throughout the council district, throughout the city. Do the same thing for this program. This is not a program that's limited to 1 district or 2 districts or 3 districts. It's citywide. And if it's citywide, then each district should get a fair share of their money. I don't even know what the balance would be. That's not included here. But do it so that the public has an idea of where their money's going. Because even though it's federal grant money, the public pays.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, HollywoodHighlands.org, resident since 1976. No, I don't niggle, N-I-G-G-L-E. Like, no, there's a little bit wrong here, there's a little bit wrong here, and why don't you do it for all 15? All 15 districts are going to get this damn money. You have to do this one at a time. I know that because I've lived in this city. Let me tell you, nothing is more important than gang reduction. Absolutely nothing. Summer Lights program, absolutely. And this council has done a very good job, and even Antonio did, on Summer Lights. What our big problem was, as you know, in Hollywood Boulevard, the gangs almost beat to death a transsexual. But we got it on camera, and we arrested them. And guess what? They were white boys. When you hear gang, the racists think minorities. They were white boys. HollywoodHighlands.org.
All right, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, let's move to 57. Mr. Arnold Sachs, item 57. Did you say you passed, Arnold, or? $57, Arnold. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sachs passes. Let's prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, would it be appropriate to adjourn the special meeting and move into the regular meeting?
Absolutely,
Back to the
sir.
Regular meeting. Okay, so that's what we'll do. It's my understanding that item 5 should be continued without objection to January 7th.
January 7th, sir, yes.
Okay, the next, we want to go to item 12. Mr. Krikorian, item 12.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On item number 12, I'd move that the city clerk report dated December 5th, 2013, along with the Pause Committee report, recommendation number 2, and the Budget and Finance Committee report, recommendation number 1, be approved.
Okay,
That's an
with
amended
that-
motion, so I need a second.
You
and-
got it. I second that. Let's prepare to vote on that. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Let's now move, Mr. Clerk, to item 43, I believe it is. And
Yes, sir.
Mr. Krikorian, I believe this to be you again.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Item 43 is a recommendation for settlement. It's been considered and approved by both the Claims Board and the Budget and Finance Committee. I'd ask for an aye vote. Unless members have questions that need to be considered in closed session, we can deal with that matter now.
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Members,
Mr. President, if I
Yes.
may, I apologize. I do need to read that
Oh,
recommendation.
go right ahead, Mr. Clerk.
In the case entitled City of Los Angeles versus Patrick F. Larkin and others, and Patrick F. Larkin versus City of Los Angeles and others, there is a recommendation to expend $150,000 in settlement.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
We'll now move to item 7. Mr. Weezar, we're going to move to item 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we could take items 7 and 9 together, please. We have two appointments to area planning commissions, and I think it's important for the public and my colleagues to meet our appointments that the mayor is making to our area planning commissions. And we heard these two items in Plum Committee yesterday, the Planning, Land Use, and Management Committee. These are two great appointments. Each of them brings different talents and abilities to continue to provide decision-making to our planning processes in the city. We have with us today Mr. Mitchell Harmatz to the Harbor Area Planning Commission, which covers CD 15, as well as Ms. Jenny Kim to the South Valley Area Planning Commission, which covers CD 5. So briefly, if you could just state your name and your interest in serving on this commission, and if there are any questions from our colleagues, we will take them then. So thank you and welcome.
Anyway, welcome and go right ahead.
Oh.
We'll go with you.
Okay. It's an honor to be here before you this morning. My name is Jenny Kim, and I am nominated for the South Valley Area Planning Commission. And real briefly about myself, I've been with Southern California Edison for the past 10 years, managing the relationships that Southern California Edison has with our contractors and our vendors. And a big part of my role is to work with our internal engineers and planning folks and reaching out to our mutual customers and working with the respective cities and on energy efficiency and new construction projects. So I hope that I could bring some insights from that world to the commission, and I feel really honored to be here. Thank you.
We're honored to have you. Yes, sir.
My name is Mitch Harmatz. Thank you very much. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I'm educated in the LA public school system, as well as a graduate of LA Valley College and UCLA. I own and operate a local business in Los Angeles, San Pedro. My wife's a teacher in the LA Unified School District. 3 kids in the who are LA Unified School products. So I think it's just a great opportunity to give back. The public in the city of LA has been very good to myself, my family, and it's an opportunity to give back.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Huizar, for moving forward with these appointments. I want to first thank Mayor Garcetti for bringing Mitch to the table. Mitch and I have known each other for many years, and I've seen his love, his compassion, his dedication to the harbor area communities, and his wife, who's just been an incredible teacher at the elementary school in San Pedro. Mitch, I just want to say thank you for taking on this role. We shared the stage when we once ran for honorary mayor of San Pedro, and we together collectively raised thousands of dollars for our local charities. And I saw you there at that juncture where you showed your love, and you have a heart of gold. You have a successful business on the Western Avenue corridor, and for that, I'm proud of you. We're proud of you, and thank you for taking on this role. And to you, Jenny, thanks so much as well for your ongoing commitment to our city. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Bloomingfield. Wait, Mr. Labange.
Thank you. I wanted to thank you both for your service. I'm very excited about working with you in the South Valley. We've got a lot to do in the South Valley, and I know we're going to work well together. Just thought I would ask a general question about the Orange Line, about transit-oriented development. As you know, it's part of the key part of the West Valley. I'm hoping at some point to see the Orange Line either get some grade separation or get light rail there. Just tell me a little bit of how you feel about transit-oriented development and what we can do to promote that.
Absolutely. Well, I should tell you that prior to this appointment today, I sat on the Transportation Commission, and so I'm very aware of what's going on. I really believe in revitalization and rebuilding of the transit corridors and making sure that everyone's getting out of their cars and using mass transit. So I'm totally supportive of anything that supports all that and our city's master plan with public transit. So yes.
Mr. Labange, did you want to?
Just wanted to thank both. What high school do you go to down there?
Fairfax High
Fairfax,
School.
go Lions. All right.
There you
And
go.
Miss Kim, Kamsamida, big thing, Ventura Boulevard, runs all the way.
Absolutely.
You know, from the Cahuenga Pass, Campo de Cahuenga, that historic park right there, the specific plan, good balance, good villages. The villages of Ventura Boulevard are a key aspect of our life. The people from the Cahuenga Pass area, Sherman Oaks, Studio City, Encino, Tarzana, they love that. So your focus on that will be very good. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Ms. Martinez, is that item? Ms. Martinez, item 6.
Sure, can we take speakers, please, before I...
Ms. Martinez would like to take speakers. You have Juan Acala, Mike O'Gara, Gary, I guess.
And for the record, sir, we have motion 6A, Martinez Buscaino, that's been circulated and is now
Okay,
before
so
council.
why don't
for
we
its
start
consideration.
off with that? Go on, Mr. Acala.
One of your favorite subjects here, let's say no to drugs. Let's go ahead and sell more alcohol. Let's go and write more DUI tickets, because it brings revenue for the city. Alcohol licenses are good for city council. They're not good for society, but you don't care about society. You only care about the money that you can get from society. That's all you care about. You don't care about the people. Go ahead and flood every neighborhood with alcohol. Why not? It will bring you more revenue. Isn't that so simple to understand? You're telling people not to drink and drive, and you're giving more alcohol licenses? Give me a stupid break. Krikorian, you're probably one of the ones that votes for more alcohol. Krikorian, I don't love you at all.
Mr. President, he should speak to the council as a whole.
I don't like Gregorian. I think he was born prematurely.
No, anyway, you're off the subject, and we'll bring up the next speaker, which is Mike O'Gara.
My name's Mike O'Gara. I've lived 40 years in Sun Valley, and I want to thank our wonderful council member for bringing this up. And this is a liquor license request in an area that's already saturated with liquor licenses. And this application, the people involved want to start selling alcohol at 6 o'clock in the morning. I urge you to support Councilwoman Martinez. Thank you.
Okay, Gary.
I am Gary Agus. I'm with the Sun Valley Area Neighborhood Council, again. And I also want to thank Councilwoman Martinez for her motion on this. Sun Valley has plenty of liquor licenses. There's 2 off-sale licenses on the same corner as this establishment, and the hours are just totally unacceptable to me. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and then I have a David DeJesus. David, please come forward.
Good morning, Council. My name is David DeJesus. I'm representing Pat Gallegos from the Outrigger. The reason we're here is because there was a difference in the census tract undue concentration dated of last year. The location was moved from 9007 Lower Canyon to 8420 Lancashire. So we're not adding any more liquor licenses in this neighborhood. We're just transferring location. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Ms. Martinez.
The application for determination of public convenience and necessity on the location of Outrigger Bar and Grill is located in a new location on Lancashire. But I just want to state for the record some of the ongoing LAPD concerns with the location. When the Outrigger was located on Laurel Canyon, they were cited for several selling alcohol to minors and for having a bartender working while intoxicated. The ABC license for the Laurel Canyon location was ultimately surrendered. Some of the ongoing ABC issues are in October of this year, the LAPD Vice conducted an undercover ABC investigation at Outrigger, and there were 2 citations and 1 arrest. The bartender was cited for serving an intoxicated person. A partner was arrested for public drunkenness, and the application was cited for having a band and DJ on the premise without required cafe entertainment permit. And in June of this year, the applicant was arrested by LAPD Valley Traffic Division for driving under the influence. The applicant was so intoxicated that she got out of her car at a local 7-Eleven and urinated on the sidewalk, while purchasing additional alcohol. According to the police report, the applicant was belligerent, uncooperative, and refused to answer any questions. Colleagues, I have circulated a motion to council, and it should be in front of you by now, to find that the public convenience and nuisance and necessity will not be served by the sale of alcohol beverages for on-site consumption, and that the council deny the application for determination of public convenience and necessity be denied.
Okay, let's, no, just keep your applause down. Okay, let's prepare then to vote on the substitute amended motion. And Mr. Clerk, we would vote aye on the amended motion, correct?
Yes, sir, as amended.
Okay, so Ms. Martinez is asking for an aye vote. So let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that passes. Let's do a quick vote on reconsideration on item 30, is it? Item 30. So on item 30, this vote is for reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, we're going to go to item 32, held by cards. Mr. Wanakala and Mr. Gus, please come forward on item 32.
1 minute only, please. Resolution.
Just come and speak, Mr. Akala.
1 minute only, thank you. Resolution removing property at 110 West 48th Street, case number blah, 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 from rent escrow account because they did what you said they should do. And the other one, resolution removing the property at 140 West 50th Street. They're both lousy neighborhoods anyway. You know, give them a break. You know, the whole neighborhood looks like crap. So why do you go after some particular tenants? You know, the whole city, except maybe the rich neighborhoods. But all the poor neighborhoods look like crap. There's trash all over the place. There are holes on the streets. And when you target a few people and hold their money because they're not doing a good job, you're not doing a good job anyway. You should go ahead and put your own houses on the escrow account.
That has nothing to do with this subject. Okay, Mr. Gus. Okay, Mr. Gus passes. In fact, no, I won't call on you, Mr. Price. Let's just prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we're going to move to item 33. And item 33 was held special by Mr. Gus. Please come forward, Mr. Walsh and Juan Acala on item 33.
Okay, good morning. Item number 33. You tell us all the time not to speak about items outside of the purview of the city of Los Angeles, and you guys who have your finances a freaking mess, notice I said freaking this time, you're telling the USPS you want them to get their finances in order? That's like Jackie Gleason talking about diet pizza. You get your own freaking finances in order, and then you can tell the federal government how to get theirs in order. The USPS lost $6 billion last year, which is down from $11 billion the year before. If they have cost-cutting measures, I don't see how the hell the city of Los Angeles should be telling them. I mean, what studies have you guys done to find out about the infrastructure of their last-mile delivery networks? What studies have you guys done where you can say, yeah, no, you should keep it 6 days a week. You should keep these things established. You're just sitting there shooting your asses off about some other body that can't keep its finances in check when you guys are laying off people or threatening to eliminate unfilled jobs. You have departments that don't collect tens of millions of dollars, and you have the nerve to tell the federal government that they should keep their finances in order? I'd like to know what qualifies this city. What successes have you done with finances? It's like the NFL thing. You guys don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you shouldn't be telling the federal government to limit their finances. I'll give back my 20 seconds of time because I don't need to fill every second to make a point.
Thank you, Mr. Gus. Mr. John Walsh on item 33.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Some really hot stuff up there. Only 7 people sitting in their chair, 7 council people in their chair.
That has nothing to do with the subject.
Well, you
shouldn't
be. You should call a recess.
Item 33.
Okay, quiet. Postal reform. I'm glad you are sending this to the federal government. Look what they want to do. You are saying here, secure the continuance of mail delivery 6 days a week. They want to get rid of our Saturday mail. Now, they got rid of Saturday mail in Canada something like 15 or 16 years ago, and they want to do it here. That's why we need every city council in California to harass Congress not to kill what we have. Now, the People's Republic of Berkeley, where they're all red communists, have allowed their historic GPO, their post office, to close down. Santa Monica, Junior People's Republic, closed down. Fortunately, right now, and this is what this has evolved in, there has been no talk of closing down any of the major post offices buildings in L.A. But they want to do it. They want to get rid of it. And, Barack Obama doesn't make my skin crawl like his predecessors, Clinton, but still, he's behind this. Number one, 100%, we want to keep our post offices. And if that means collaborating with you, fine. Not everything you do is wrong. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, Mr. Alcala.
Well, I have a slightly different view on this point because, do you know, guys, what email means? Email? You send a letter through a computer and the person gets it in China in one instant? So why do we even need the post office to begin with?
Why not?
Other than to carry packages.
Is he ready?
You know? So just close down the whole system, the whole letter sending system, and leave the packages open. But this way we will save enough money so that everybody can afford housing.
On the subject.
Well, is that a good idea or what?
Let's stay on the subject.
Okay, the subject is mail, and we're way behind our times all the time. Now we have electronic mail, and guess what? The federal government is already trying to limit the internet. Hillary Clinton, I voted for her. She's an idiot. She's talking about...
Let's stay on the subject, Juan. In fact, Juan, I've warned you twice. All right, thank you very much. Okay, members, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Cedillo, are you ready to begin?
I am, sir.
Item 41.
And, Mr. President, there is a substitute motion for this matter that's been circulated.
All right. Let's proceed.
Up here? Up here.
I will afford you the option.
Mr. President, yesterday you heard me talk about the Chinese Exclusion Act and how our policy was directed towards one ethnic group, and the result of that was an apology and an embarrassment to our state and our nation. Today I'm here with resolution to call for the end of deportations and ask that the President act now, that he expand his program referred to as Deferred Action, that he expand that program to all immigrant families who are not engaged in serious criminal activity. As you know, Mr. President, you've worked with me on the California DREAM Act. You know we've passed the Trust Act here in California. And most recently, we had a glorious day in which we signed legislation with our governor to issue driver's licenses to California immigrants. We respect the legislative process, but when that process doesn't work, it's a call for leadership. And we know that Congress has closed this session, has again failed to take action on this matter. It's a matter that impacts 11 million families directly, and specifically 2 million families have been deported or have had their family members deported. Over 500,000 of those families have U.S.-born children, and so as a result, we are either giving them the option of foster care or an option of a de facto deportation of U.S.-born citizens. This is atrocious and unacceptable, Mr. President. And so we're here today to ask that our President, President Barack Obama, stop the deportations now, that he listen to the 29 congressional leaders and countless community leaders who have asked him to stop the deportations, and that he provides a comprehensive deferred action program now. This is not the man that I campaigned for in Texas and Nevada and California. This is not the man that we had such high hopes for as the champion of immigrants. Sadly, he has become the champion of deportations, as over 2 million members of our society have been deported, and we call for an end to those deportations now and comprehensive deferred action now. Mr. President, I thank you for your time, and colleagues, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you. You know what I'd like to do, Mr. Cedillo? I'd like to right now defer to Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand with my colleague and others who are calling for much needed immigration reform. The numbers don't lie, as my colleague suggested. Today we're seeing record high numbers of deportations, even though many of those being deported pose no criminal threats. And these actions are just unnecessarily breaking up families, creating a negative economic impact on those families and the broader community, and it's just not a fair way to proceed. We're urging our colleagues in Washington to stop penalizing innocent people with their inaction. Many of those persons live in the 9th District, and so we do support to expand the Deferred Action Program to all undocumented residents until they bring us the kind of comprehensive immigration reform I think that we deserve, that the nation deserves, and that is necessary. It's also fitting that we vote on this resolution today, which is United Nations International Day of Migrants. And again, we know that migration helps to make our country strong, rich, and brave. And indeed, our community today is populated by hundreds of thousands of immigrants representing immigrant communities from around this world. And so, again, when we talk about cultural diversity, ethnic diversity, no place epitomizes that more than Los Angeles, and we should certainly want to support the kind of positive, progressive programs at the local, state, and federal level that are going to be respectful to our families, respectful to our communities, and that stop penalizing those who are innocent of any wrongdoing. So I urge support of this resolution, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar. And then, Mr. Cedillo, we will go to the public comment, but let's take care of the members. Mr. Weezer.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Cedillo, for bringing this to our attention and to continue to raise the voice that we need comprehensive immigration reform. But even if we're not going to, if Congress is going to fail to act on that, at least we could do things that will help mitigate the impacts that it has on a number of immigrants. You know, my family came to this country in the early 1970s. At that time, we had federal laws that permitted that if one of your family members was born in the United States, that all family members would get their green cards. I think that spoke to the family values that this country believes in unifying families, keeping families together. That's what America is all about. But today, if a family comes here, that person who is born here is the only U.S. citizen. Everyone else can be and are being deported. This action today is simply asking that until we get comprehensive immigration reform that fixes that broken system, that fixes a system that is un-American and does not do anything but break families apart, let's do something to fix that. Let's expand the Deferred Action Program until we get comprehensive immigration reform. This action today is a continuous action that we have to continue to raise our voices, tell Congress and America that we will not give up. We will not fall asleep until we get comprehensive immigration reform, but we need to fix those things that are abhorrent, they're un-American, and unacceptable. And I want to thank the advocates who are here. Thank you so much, because many of you who are here in the audience, you continue to do that for us. Muchísimas gracias. Adelante.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weezer. And first I want to ask Father Richard Estrada, as well as with you is
Angela Zambrano.
Please, if you would, for the microphone so I can call your card.
My name is Father Richard Estrada. I'm a Catholic priest. I've been working with immigrants for 35 years. Today I come with the Protect Our Family campaign. We're members of different organizations that you probably all know. For many, many, many years we've been working on immigration reform. And we're doing the right thing if we're going to pass this resolution. It's wrong. Simple as that. Morally wrong. Children should not be separated from their families. Never. It's not good for families. It's not good for communities and for a nation. It's a shame. You're doing the right thing by passing this resolution. The same thing with the treatment of our brothers and sisters that are held in detention. It is disgusting to know about what's going on in the detention centers, how they're being treated. More and more people are dying in the desert. That should not be. So we're here today, and we're very proud of our brother Cedillo and Mr. Price, champions in the immigrant rights movement. And I urge you, pray for you, that you pass this resolution. God does not want us to continue to let our government separate children from their families.
Thank you, Father. And Angela Zambrano.
Yes.
Next speaker.
Good morning, buenos días, Mr. President, members of the City Council. My name is Angela Zambrano, and I am here to speak on behalf of the Protect Our Families campaign. Many members are here today in support of the resolution. Today, throughout the world, we celebrate the United Nations International Migrants Day. The commemoration of International Migrant Day is a very appropriate day to join Councilmember Gil Cedillo and Councilmember Karen Price to call on President Obama to stop deportations and to expand Deferred Action Program to all undocumented immigrants with no serious criminal history since Congress failed to pass immigration reform this year. Every day, more than 1,200 people are being deported, causing great pain and suffering to thousands of people and families, and a great social and economic harm to our communities. In the past 5 years, President Obama has deported over 2 million people, the largest number of deportees that any president in the history of the United States.
The deportations are causing great harm to our communities, especially young children. In the last 2 years, 23% of the people who were deported had U.S. citizen children. Many children are left to foster care, and many parents who are deported have lost communications with their children. The forced separation of families is cruel. It is a cruel and humiliating act. President Obama can stop this humanitarian crisis now by expanding the Deferred Action Program. Please support.
Thank you,
Thank you.
very much. Thank you. Rita Medina, please.
Allowing me this time. My name is Rita Medina, and I'm with Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, CHIRLA. I'm here today in support of this resolution, and CHIRLA definitely thanks the leadership of Councilmember Cedillo and Kern Price for bringing such an important issue in front of the council. Everybody's heard the numbers. It's no surprise that deportations are tearing apart our families every day. You hear that over 1,000 people, maybe 1,200 people are being deported every day. But it's not just those 1,200 lives. It's the lives of their children that are attached to those parents, those brothers, those sisters, the employers who are having their employees taken from their business places, and the cost to our communities economically of taking those people from their jobs and deporting them. If you could only hear the stories of the people who walk into our offices every day, folks who are just like you and I, whose family members have been caught up in programs like Secure Communities, which has already deported over 30,000 people since September of this year, just for things like street vending or a simple jaywalking ticket that has gotten them caught up in the system. We can't afford to be ripping our families apart, and especially here in this time of the holiday season, we ask that you support this resolution in memory of those folks who cannot be with their families during the holiday season. We ask for your support on this resolution. Thank you.
John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. The father said that God was in favor of a yes vote, but we need equal time, and I will give equal time. Satan is in favor of a no vote. Sometimes I get, I'm speaking as an old white guy. Sometimes I get very ashamed of old white guys. We got to get rid of these illegal aliens. Well, let me tell you, my great-grandfather was Irish, and he was treated like an illegal alien in New York City. The Irish were treated like crap because they were illegal aliens. Garbage. That's why I stand, and we stand behind every single Hispanic. Let's get rid of these laws, and let's reunite families. And I'm speaking for all the angry old white guys in America. Wake up. You're next. Hollywood, Highland, and also I speak on our president, who every day becomes a little bit more like the Bushes. He's actually transforming.
He
if
is
you look
not talking about
carefully,
this item.
you spoke about Obama. Obama is against what you're going to vote for. He's a racist. The city attorney is a racist. You are a racist. You're trying to stop me. It won't stop me. 100%. Viva! Viva Mexico! Stay here, and we welcome all people to America.
Juan Alcala.
Here we go.
Excuse me, the clerk informed me you have no time. Please make a quick comment.
Person that was here because of the amnesty, and I'm telling you, you are totally wrong.
Thank you very much. Next person is Daniel Gus. Mr. Clerk, please inform me more appropriately.
1 minute only, please. 1 minute. Obviously, we should help the immigrant population here. The problem is, by the way, 1 minute only, please. Mr. Cedillo, you're an elected official. You were supposed to know what Obama was going to do. It is your responsibility. You're a very experienced legislator. You said this isn't the Barack Obama you supported? Of course it's the Barack Obama you supported. Now the people who live, the largest percentage of people who live in your district are having to deal with this. 5 years into the Obama administration, you're finally realizing this guy's not the real deal. No. He was pushing the health care. He's pushing all this other crap. While now, 5 years into it, when he's got virtually no moral standing or trustworthiness among the American people, now 5 years with a man of your intelligence and your experience, you're telling me this isn't the Barack Obama you...
He should speak to the council as a whole.
I apologize for that. The excuse is very, very thin, but please help the people. 1 minute.
Dr. Tom Williams.
Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council. I'm one of those very old white guys, but I'm married to an ex-alien. Really, 30 years of happiness. Now, we have a basic issue. I would like to have it revised so that it would be unauthorized individuals, full stop, period. What's wrong with our criminal justice system? Does it work? If it does work, they're rehabilitated if they have served their punishment. So why put the caveat with no serious criminal history? Take it off. Get it for everyone until there's uniform immigration control reform. Thank you.
That completes public comment. Mr. O'Farrell.
Sir, thank you, Mr. President. I rise today in support and in admiration of your leadership, Mr. Cedillo, in partnership with Mr. Price. Lack of action at the federal level for immigration reform has had tragic consequences, not just nationally, but locally. That is why it's important that we speak as one voice at the local level in Los Angeles, where this policy has affected us so tragically as has been outlined. So I echo all the statements of my colleagues that have been said today and the statements from the audience today. Since there is a deficit of action at the national level, we need to send the message to Washington, D.C. that we are going to take some action of ourselves, and that is the right thing to do. So I just want to rise in support and acknowledge that effort, and it's going to be a great day in LA. Thank you.
Mr. Labange.
2 days ago, we discussed the Chinese Inclusionary Act. What a horrible situation that was, but for so many years. I believe all people are very important, and there's nothing like the United States of America. And I believe our focus should be in improving this very, very sad chapter that does harm families. It is all about families. And if you see today coming, I found a lost boy on a corner. And it was like, it put me right there off of Griffith Park Boulevard and Lucille, and his mother was really lost. And I put them back together again. Think what is happening all over with this here. So there is a way, and that's the greatness about people that we're here. Father Estrada, I want to thank you for your continual fight. You called Gil Cedillo a brother. I don't know if he could take my confession, but I will salute Gil Cedillo every day. And I want to tell you, my parents were born in Los Angeles, in Lincoln Heights, and down in Long Beach. Their parents were born in Ireland and then in Germany, and they came here. So it's the work of all people. So this is an effort. And you said it very clearly. If you're a bad person and if they have to deport you for criminal reasons that are harming and violence to the community, yes, right away. You'll be the first guy to make that happen, Mr. Cedillo. But this is a good point. We have to look in the new year to find a way for immigration reform and do the right thing and keep families together. Thank you, Mr. Cedillo, and thank you, Mr. Price.
Mr. Cedillo to close.
I thank my colleagues. I thank those who have come forward. Enough has been said. The time to stop the separation of families must be today, and it's the time for our city to speak up clearly with distinction the first major city in the nation, to be followed by many others, calling upon the President to stop the deportations now, end the separations of family, and expand deferred action for all. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Well, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir. Pardon me, sir. This is a two-vote item, first on whether to substitute or not, and then on the remaining item.
So the first vote is on substitution?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on that. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, now we'll actually vote on the motion itself as amended or as the substitute motion. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, now we'll go to item 27. It's my understanding it was held for, if we could stop the applause, item 27 was held for, Mr. Clerk, a technical amendment?
Yes, sir. I
So
believe
if
the city attorney
The city
will.
attorney can speak to that?
Yes, Mr. President. A technical amendment on item 27. Recommendation 2 of the Economic Development Committee report should read at the end of that recommendation a comma and then as legally permissible.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Mr. President, I move this item as amended and seek your aye vote.
All right. And I'll second it for Mr. Price. Okay, let's move forward. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Ms. Martinez, would you like to move to 26?
Thank you, Mr. President. The issue at this location goes back to the 1980s, if not longer. After 30 years, the residents of Van Nuys are fed up with the prostitution in the area. The conditions imposed this year have not fixed the problem in the area, but thanks to the work of the LAPD, Vice, and the City Attorney's Office and the Planning Department, the recommendations are even stronger, so I thank you for that. Thank you very much for working on this issue. I also want to thank my colleague, Mitch Englander, who in Plum Committee even suggested stronger recommendations which were approved. So what I'm asking here today is that we approve the Plum Committee report that will in turn continue the original conditions and add the 24-hour security guard requirement and add the uniform guards and security camera requirements to this area. I've been working since I've been elected the last 4.5 months on this prostitution tract in the San Fernando Valley on Sepulveda Boulevard. It's a very, very serious issue in my district, primarily when it affects young girls as young as 13 years old. This location is a problem, and we need to make sure that the neighborhood and the families in this area can take their neighborhood back. So thank you so much for your work, and I ask for an aye vote.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Blumenfield, you want to move forward on 34 at this time? I have a few cards. Would you like me to call the cards first?
Actually, if I could say a few
No,
words,
go right
then,
ahead.
Then introduce the cards, then I'll say something
Yes, sir.
at the end. Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I rise today in support of a very exciting opportunity for the LA River and specifically for the river in the West Valley and the community of Reseda. Today, we have the opportunity to approve a fully funded project that will transform a vacant and blighted patch of land into a natural space that will provide habitat and recreation green space for local residents, bringing nearly 2 acres of open space at the confluence of the Los Angeles River and the Aliso Creek. I want to thank Councilmember O'Farrell for understanding the urgency in terms of the timing of this, that we might potentially lose some funds if we didn't move it quickly, and waving it out of committee and working so closely with my office on that. Thank you very much for that. As I'm alluding to, this project needs to get the city approval or we could lose critical funding come January. The Reseda Loop or Aliso Creek confluence has been in the makings for almost 5 years. And I know this very well because 5 years ago as an assembly member, I was at the original designed Charette to put this project together, have been working with the stakeholders over the years to make sure that they got the funding, the state funding that they needed. Working with charrettes that were held by the Trust for Public Land, who we're going to hear from in a moment. And the Trust for Public Land has been tireless in putting this together and has just done an amazing job. They work collaboratively with the LA River Project Office and the Department of Rec and Parks, and they never gave up. Despite many challenges that we saw over these last 5 years, they never gave up on this project. And when I took office as a council member for the West Valley, I knew that bringing this project to fruition was going to be a top priority of mine, and I'm very proud to be here on this day as we are so close to making that a reality. Once built, the Aliso Creek Confluence Project will connect to and enhance a planned 50-mile network of bicycle and walking paths along the LA River. It'll provide an opportunity to expand the network of the 51 miles of the river. 32 of those miles are in the city of Los Angeles. This project is almost 2 acres and includes some of the following: an approximately 1/2 mile of decomposed granite walking path, benches, shaded picnic areas, low-maintenance, water-efficient demonstration garden, decorative gates, educational interpretive signs, and a 100-foot-long mural in the densely populated area of Reseda. The project will transform the Los Angeles County Flood Control and the City of Los Angeles Department of Water and Power right-of-way into a natural space and will provide habitat for wildlife and recreational green space for local residents. It's part of my effort in terms of trying to really green the West Valley, and it's a great example of a public-private partnership really coming together effectively. The community surrounding the river in this area has spoken. From the Valley Vineyard Church across the street to the Reseda Neighborhood Council, they all want this project, and now it's our turn as a council to make it happen. This project is also key to the River Revitalization Master Plan, which was approved by this council in 2007. You know, earlier this year, I joined Mr. O'Farrell and the mayor going to D.C. to lobby on behalf of Alternative 20, which is the Army Corps money, to get more money for the LA River. Now, this particular project isn't part of that 11-mile stretch. It's north of that 11-mile stretch. But it's part of the shared vision of the master plan, and it all fits in nicely with a green river. And so this is part of that vision, even though it's not directly getting Army Corps funding. Through state funding of $1.5 million and city/federal funding of CDBG money of $255,000, this project is funded to be built. The transformative project, we have to act quickly. If we don't approve this money by the end of this year, we could lose that state money, this Prop 84 money. And I know we have public comment, and I'd like to first hear, if it's okay with the President, from Robin Mark of the Trust for Public Land. She was a key leader in this, and if we can call her.
I was going to call her name. Please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Good afternoon. My name is Robin Mark. I work with the Trust for Public Land. Our mission is to create open space for all. Our goal is really that parks and open space are within a 10-minute walk of everybody in the United States. And so it's with great joy that I'm here today. It's been a long road, about 5 years of working on this project. I first wanted to thank the council for your time today, and also our city partners and the Bureau of Engineering and Recreation and Parks. We wouldn't have the opportunity to work on this project if it weren't for our fantastic partner. So I also wanted to say that the river has really been a priority for the Trust for Public Land for many years. This project is just one of about 20 projects that we have worked on that have created about 80 acres of open space in Los Angeles along the river. We're extremely excited about this project in Reseda, not only because, as you said, Councilmember, it's relationship and it's being a part of the revitalization master plan, but also because for the community of Reseda, this project really has a lot of great benefits. This project will turn a vacant, inaccessible lot in the community of Reseda into a 2-acre nature park. There will be opportunities for recreation. There will be opportunities for education with the stormwater best management practices and the native plants that we'll include in the design. The Trust for Public Land and our partners at the city and the county have been working on this project since 2009 to really garner community support and to get the grant funding to be able to build the project. As I said, we're so excited to be here today because it's really important. This is really the next step in getting us able to create construction drawings for this project and get us a step closer to a new vibrant green space along the Los Angeles River. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Gus, Daniel Gus, waves on this. Okay, members, let's prepare to vote on this. Yes, Mr. Blumenfield to close.
Well, not to close, but we have some important folks from Rec and Parks that are here. I'd like to ask Deborah Weintraub, the interim general manager for the Bureau of Engineering, and Megan Whalen from the LA Project Office, as well as Michael Scholl, the interim general manager. They were all here to say a few words.
Well,
about
let's
this.
do that.
So if we could get the department
I
heads.
wondered why Scholes was here.
Yeah,
All
and,
right.
and we're very honored to have the big guns out here for this project and to really underscore how important it is. So thank you all for being here.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mike Shaw, General Manager of Recreation and Parks. This is one of actually one of 7 partnerships we have with the Trust for Public Land, and it's just as valuable as all the rest that we have. This is part of our 50 Parks Initiative. We're trying to build 50 new parks across the city. TPL has been a valuable partner in that, as well as Bureau of Engineering, in helping us achieve these goals. We've completed 21 of the 50 parks. This will be, this park will be coming soon, and I don't know that people realized how critical this particular park is and its connection that it makes to 2 other very large community parks in the area, and how it really is not just a confluence of the Wash and the river, but it's also a confluence between 2 really nice parks within that area that will offer a really nice connection in the future for biking and walking. So we're delighted that it's gotten this far, and we're delighted that it's going to move forward.
Council members, Deborah Weintraub, interim general manager from the Bureau of Engineering. As the River Project Office is housed in the Bureau of Engineering, we're thrilled to be able to bring this in front of council. It realizes a project identified in 2007 and represents a partnership with our sister agencies, DWP, Rec and Parks, also outside groups like the Jewish Federation, Heschel Day School, and others. So I'm very happy to be here to support this.
You just going to do this?
I'm good.
Why don't you at least tell us who you are?
Daryl Ford from the Department of Recreation and Parks, and just to reiterate what both Deborah Weintraub and Mike Scholl said, it's a very important project for us, and we recognize that these types of projects can't happen with all the partnerships that we're doing. This is an enormously complicated project, as the council member talked about, with multiple agencies that need to be coordinated with, so we're happy to be able to step into a role here that really will assist this project happening, because at the end of the day, we're going to have a park space that benefits the community and will be a keystone in our future efforts to revitalize the river.
You are a good man, and we should hear from you, okay? Mr. Labange?
Councilman, at the Bell and Calabasas Creek, at these creeks, at the Canoga Park High, all that at the start of the river, so much of our efforts have been in the core. You've picked up the team and put it in a great way. Bob, great job there. The great team here on the table, because it's really the goal of all of us should be to get these parks along the river and a bikeway along the river that you could ride from the great West San Fernando Valley through the wonderful Sepulveda Basin all the way through Sherman Oaks and down all the way to Griffith Park, Elysian Park. Bob, great job. Okay.
Okay. Back to you, Mr. Blumenfield.
Just to close again, I want to thank our department heads for being here and all of our department folks, not only for being here, but for the commitment that you've put into making this happen. It really has been complicated and extraordinary that you've done it. As a city, we're leveraging a tremendous amount of funds, too. Just from a financial perspective, we're putting in a little bit of CDBG money, which comes down from the feds, and we're leveraging all of this state money. So this is great for the community. It's great financially. I also want to pick up, you mentioned some of our other stakeholders. I want to mention the Herschel Day School, the Jewish Home for the Aging, Mujeres de la Tierra, and the West Valley YMCA. All of them and other stakeholders have been critical to making this happen, and they're really excited about it. So we've waited a long time. Thank you for Trust for Public Land, and with that, I strongly ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, sir. Okay, members, let's prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, let's now move on to Mr. Buscaino. Let's now move on to item 35. Item 35, Mr. Buscaino. We have a few cards on it, and then, however, you want to take the cards first, and then
I'll take it on right now, and then you can take the
Go
cards.
right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, before you is a very important item regarding the 6th Street Viaduct replacement project that I'm so excited to see move forward. This is a vital infrastructure project that is critically needed in our city, specifically in Mr. Weezar's district. Here we're using the innovative construction manager general contractor, CMGC, a delivery method for this project, which currently LAX is using under for the Bradley West project. This approach enables the design team to receive advice and expertise from the general contractor in consideration of construction material, costs, methods, details, while fulfilling the city's expectations for a complete design, structure type, aesthetics goals, budget, and delivery schedule, as we often hear, on time and hopefully under budget. This will result in a better bridge constructed quicker at a lower cost. The overwhelming majority of funds for this project are being provided by the federal government, and the city has already budgeted a local match of $5 million. This project will include a PLA, a project labor agreement, as long as the Federal Highway Administration signs off on it. The item before you today is the approval of a 6-year, $250 million construction manager general contractor construction services contract, the result of hundreds of hours that has been put in by city staff. At the request of the BOE, the controller conducted an audit of the proposal submitted by SSW, the winning bidder, and concluded the negotiations with BOE resulted in fair and reasonable costs to the city. We thank the controller for taking this on. I'd like to thank the Bureau of Engineering, Board of Public Works, LADOT, CLA, CAO, City Attorney, Controller, and Mr. Weezar and his staff, and everyone else involved in this project. And you've heard this over and over. This, the concrete that's used in the existing 6th Street Viaduct is undergoing what's called a alkali silica reaction, which is causing the structure to deteriorate and making it vulnerable to failure. And it's vital that we approve this item so that we can allow construction to commence as soon as possible. Thank you. I ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Weezar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Buscaino, for shepherding this through committee and your support for this. And I want to thank our staff as well, because we are only here to be able to award this through their hard work in putting together a number of different sources, state and federal, to make this possible. And as we're looking at all our great iconic bridges, unfortunately, as we try to preserve most of these bridges and bring them up to code, this is one that we couldn't do that. I remember Mr. Labange spoke loudly and clearly about how we have to preserve our beautiful bridges, and we had a great debate here on the floor about how it wasn't possible for this. We went from there, and I asked the staff to, well, we can't preserve this one, let's replicate it. But then we got the idea, the staff came up with the idea, some folks in the Arts District came up with the idea, well, why not have an international competition for a new design? And because of your efforts, Labange, and others, Mr. Buscaino and others, we were able to get a great design which was awarded to HNTB, and this is going towards a last but important contract given out to this firm that will move, Skanska, that will move us forward on finally managing the construction. Demolition begins in 2015. And it's going to go on for a few years. And I always love to ask this of staff to keep them accountable. When will this be completed? 2018. This will be completed, 2018. So thank you for this. I'm really excited about this. We couldn't replicate what was there. We couldn't preserve. But I think we have a great design. And now on the implementation and construction, we're moving forward to make sure that happens. We've had great community meetings with a lot of great input. And what I like about this bridge as well, and it's going to be a challenge to the extra CM firm to make sure it happens, it's not going from point A to point B. They actually have loops, have you seen Mr. Buscaino, that throughout you could get to the bottom of the river as you move forward, and some more additional funding that we're looking for to create some additional landscape for physical activity as well. So thank you so much. I urge your aye vote on this.
Okay, I have a couple of public comment cards. If I could have Mr. Gus, I'm informed you have a minute. Mr. Gus passes. Mr. Sachs, please come forward on item 35, Arnold Sachs.
Well, yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And congratulations on the bridge. But there are concerns here, and it's right here on the first page, item 35, the final paragraph. The fiscal impact statement. The City Administrative Office reports that the city's general fund match of $5 million in Proposition G, Measure R, and capital improvement expenditure funds. Well, you don't get Measure R funds. This is not a Measure R fund project. This is a 15% local return Measure R funds. Mr. Labange has a motion in today regarding some metro projects, the Crenshaw LAX Transit Project, Division 13, the Exposition Transit, the Gold Line, the I-405, the Purple Line, the Regional Connector, the Wilshire Bus, and the East San Fernando Valley. Those are Measure R projects. Those are under the auspices of the Metro. This bridge is not. So the language that you're using, that you're collecting the funds for Measure R, is totally wrong. Mr. Parks, back in May, put in a motion in front of the City Council for bonding for the city for Measure R local returns to get $420 million. It would require paying $140 million, that would be interest. This form says capital improvement expenditure funds. Those would be MICLA funds. Those are bonds. So what's the debt payment on this bridge going to cost the city? You know, you just had an editorial in the LA Times said the city's debt payment has to be addressed. Why not have a debt payment day so we know what the city debt payment is going to be? The city's budget is $29 million in arrears. The debt budget needs to be addressed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, let's prepare to vote on this. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we're going to move into Mr. Clerk.
With on that. Tom Labange forthwith on that?
Okay, forthwith on that. All items forthwith today as a recommendation of Mr. Tom Labange. All right. We're moving to item 1, and we have Carl Vandenberg. If you come forward, followed by Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Akala, and Mr. Vandenberg, just so you know, it has been recommended that your item be continued. Okay, no, I didn't know if you knew. So go right ahead.
Sir, I was here last week, Wednesday, and I spoke of the problem that the AIM program has done and the lien that they want to issue against the property they own. Your recommendation was that Building and Safety and District 8 take into account this information and try to get it resolved before today. That didn't happen because Building and Safety is hard about it. Now, the fact of the matter is that the AIM program is delinquent in their responsibility to do what they're supposed to do. And I'll give you an example. On September 18th of this year, they did an inspection at my property. However, they did not send me an invoice, just like they did not send me an invoice in 2011. And when they did not send me an invoice, I asked them, why didn't you send me an invoice? They said, well, it's not your responsibility to pay. It's the tenant's responsibility to pay. Well, if you know it's the tenant's responsibility to pay, then why didn't you send me an invoice? Because you knew he wasn't going to pay. That means I have to pay. Well, if I don't get an invoice, I can't pay it. So then he says, well, if you don't pay it, you are the property owner. You are going to be held responsible. Okay, then on December 15th, a few days ago, I received an order to comply on the invoice I didn't get. And on that order to comply, it says that I have until December 4th to pay the money, but I'm given a 5-day extension to December 9th. However, the envelope was stamped, and I have it here, that it was mailed on December 12th. How can I comply when I don't even have the invoice? And I don't even have the time to comply. So I sent yesterday a check for $571 to pay for that inspection fee, which included almost $90 in fines that I had no knowledge of and I wasn't able to pay timely.
Thank you.
And I'm still stuck.
Thank you. And I understand, and I'm sympathetic. Okay, Mr. Akala, you've run out of time. I'm sorry. Where it relates to Mr. Vandenberg, it's the office has recommended that this be continued until the 14th of January. And if I could get building and safety and the department together with Mr. Vandenberg so we can just bring some closure to this. It doesn't sound like it will be that complicated if everybody sits down and communicates. Okay, thank you. No, we can't. If I do that with you, I have to do it with everybody. Thank you for coming. Again, we'll just move on with that. And without objection, that'll be continued. Now, are there any other items that we need to vote on, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I believe item number 37 is still before you.
No. Where it relates to those building
No,
and
sir.
safety concerns.
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll continue that, and we'll move to, is it? Mr. Labange, are you ready for 37?
Technical changes approved by the city attorney. Let's move it forward.
Yes, sir. And Mr. President, in regards to item 37, there is a substitute motion before you as well.
Well, that's what Mr. Labange referenced. I have,
Yes, sir.
excuse me, I have a public comment card from Mr. Sachs, Arnold Sachs, and Mr. Gus on item 37. So, Arnold, if you could please come forward. Okay, Mr. Sachs passes, and Mr. Gus does as well. So let's prepare to vote on this. It's 2 votes on this item?
Yes, sir, that's correct. First on whether to substitute.
Okay, so we're voting on substitution. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
The next vote. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that brings us now to item 36. Daniel, called special by you. Mr. Gus passes on 36, so let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that brings us to item 38, Dr. Tom Williams and Daniel Gus. Daniel, you have 1 minute, I'm informed, so please come forward.
So climate change. I'd like to know who on City Council is the guru on climate change, which has been largely debunked in the media. But what the hell, it's only $1 million, and you gave $7 million last week to retaliated cops. It says that you're going to provide planning assistance. And I have to wonder, is the planning assistance going to be like the kind of planning assistance you gave on that now aborted Millennium Project? And where is the credibility with the planning assistance that you're going to provide on a subject as dubious as climate change now? You know, there's many other better ways to spend $1 million in the city. Homeless guy got the crap beat out of him in Venice. That's by the coast. Why don't you put more police for the $1 million down there rather than $1 million into something as vague and obscure as climate change, which the city really doesn't have any expertise in? How about more cops on Venice Boardwalk so that you don't have to have the homeless people getting the crap beat out of them? That would be a better use and a better function of government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gus. Dr. Williams?
1 minute. Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council, also Sierra Club Water Committee. Yesterday, the LA County changed their mind. They continued 2 issues regarding the coastal area. That is the Bayona Freeway versus the Marina Freeway. Not much difference. However, the other one was all of the flood control projects that they're looking at for the coastal zone. Basically, they want to take Bayona Creek and convert it into a septic tank for the stormwater runoff. This is not appropriate. Please make sure that our coastal plans are consistent with preserving as much as possible the estuaries of our coastal zone within the city of LA. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we'll go to item 39. Mr. Sachs, you do have some time remaining. And I also had a card on Mr. Gus. And Daniel, there's no time remaining. But Mr. Sachs, please come forward. Come on, Arnold.
Sorry. I was getting some cues from PD over here. Thank you very much, Arnold Sachs. See, I mentioned earlier $300,000 for CDBG funds. Here's $500,000 for CDBG funds for another council district. 2 districts down, 14 more to go, 13 more to go. And not to put you, I don't know, CDBG funds, government funds, just like the government funds you're using, not necessarily for one project, for the river revitalization, but for the park, it's still government funds. It's still federal funds. And again, that comes back to the labeling. That's what's important. Because while you blow your trumpets about how wonderful and how extensive the city council works, it's how you label the source of funds. Just like with the 6th Street Viaduct Bridge, you don't control Measure R funds. County funds from Metro. But I'm glad to see the funding being spent. I just don't know about $500,000 for lighting. $500,000, that's some pretty damn good lighting. Or a community that's really in the dark.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on that item now. If we could please, Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11.
Okay, our next item is item 40, held special by cards, but their time has run out. So let's, there are no speakers in the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we're on item 42. Called special by cards, the same situation. Their time has expired. So members or Madam Clerk, if you'd open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to item 30.
And Mr. President, there is amending motion 30A that has been circulated and is now before council. So in summary, the Budget and Finance Committee report and amending motion 30A are both before council for its consideration.
Okay, then why don't we prepare to vote on those items? Let's, Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, I think that should bring us to general public comment, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, Ronald Duck. Do we have a Ronald Duck? Please come forward. Michael Waterman Hubman and Mr. Sachs.
So, dipshit Paul Krikorian told you that there was that there were children in the room when we had a little fireworks earlier. He said that there were children in the room, and there weren't. But what's the matter? You know, he's an attorney, and facts don't matter. Idiot Tom Labange told you that there's an FCC thing when Channel 35 is cable. He's been sucking off the public tit for more than 30 years, and he doesn't know the difference between broadcast TV and cable.
Hold Mr. Gus's time. Mr. Labange, just, okay. Mr. Gus, continue.
Yes. My clock's running. You got to put 5 seconds
Stop
back.
it, and now you continue.
Thank you. So, Mr. Krikorian wanted to take 3 minutes of my time last week. I've already
You should
given the
direct all of this to me, Daniel.
I am directing it to all of you guys. I refer to him in the third person.
I was just informed. So,
Okay.
you're good.
Please adjust my time. Let's play fair
I will
today.
at the end.
Thank you. So Mr. Krikorian wants to take 3 minutes of my time for some candy-ass shit. Guess what? A public person, limited public person, Tamar Krikorian, has a book on Amazon.com. And we have
Mr. President, this is not,
Attorney.
that is not within the jurisdiction of the City of Los Angeles.
Daniel, I thought we were going to
talking
hold
about
this time. I thought we were going to get together before so we could just chat this out. So can we have a truce until you and I meet, and I promise we'll do it before we come back the new year?
If the city wants to apologize to me,
No,
and give
what
me
I
my
said,
time
I'll
back,
meet with you,
then no
Daniel.
truce. Then no truce.
Okay, then, we're not going to refer to the whole council. We're not going to refer to anyone's wife.
All you have to do is offer an apology. Now, you allow comments here about Lee Baca. He's not the city of L.A. You allow people to talk about Lyndon LaRouche. He's not the city of L.A. You're treating me like I have to speak in general public comment, and now I'm responding to you. This is not my speaking time. So, am I limited only to city of L.A. in general?
Mr. City Attorney?
The speakers in general public comment must have their comments restricted to matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The personal lives of council members are not within the jurisdiction of the city.
How is Lyndon LaRouche related to the city of L.A.? You allow shitloads of comments about Lee Baca. How is that related?
Okay, we're going to give you another 15 seconds.
15?
And Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Gus, you can say what you want, but let's have no more back and forth.
Okay.
So I'll give you 15 seconds to close however you like to.
Okay. Well, I've been defending myself the whole time. This is a limited purpose public figure. She's on Amazon.com.
Come on, Daniel.
She is published.
Come on, Daniel.
An apology will let the thing die
No,
down.
you're not going to get an apology.
Call me if you want to meet.
On that.
If you want to meet.
I already did. Okay, Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just for the record again, to remind the members of the public that dialogues with the President are not part of public comment. Or if that's how they want to spend their time, I suppose they can say those things, but members of the council are not permitted to engage in a dialogue with members of the public because that isn't an agendized item for discussion. So it would be a violation of the Brown Act for members of the council to respond to whatever absurd things they want to say as charges or allegations or subjects that they want to raise, no matter how absurd they may be. We are not permitted to respond to those things because then we would be having a discussion in violation of the Brown Act that wasn't agendized. So if any member of the public wants to engage you in a debate, he can stand there and say whatever he wants to say, I suppose, but it's not incumbent upon you to respond in any way, or any of the rest of us, and that's how he's going to use his time. He can't hold his time to discuss things with you and have that somehow not count against its public comment time. So again, it's in order to have all members of the public treated fairly under the Brown Act, they are not allowed to engage in dialogue with the president. So I just want to make that clear again.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Akala, followed by Dr. Williams. Michael Garrow, you still here? Oh, no, wait. Come on. I thought, what happened to you, Mr. Hubman? I called you. You got to get in your spot. And then you're after him.
I was just being polite.
Well, you are very polite. Come on.
Michael Hubman, Right to Share Food Coalition. At Right to Share Food, we believe that sharing food with our brothers and sisters is a fundamental human right. We believe that sharing food is a constitutionally protected activity guaranteed under the Freedom of Association Clause of the Constitution. We believe that sharing food outside and in public is an equally protected activity. This past Saturday, over 1,000 people taking up 4 city blocks came out to protest the idea of the restricting of sharing food with the homeless. In addition to food sharing, the demonstrators made it clear they were coming out to stick up for the people who find themselves homeless and poor. These protesters are working in middle class, mostly young people who knew their issue, where they stand. One sign said, "Feeding the poor is a duty, not a crime." And an MSNBC poll found that 77% took objection to the restriction of sharing the food with the homeless. I quote Councilmember O'Farrell, "There must be a better way to treat the homeless. Causing hunger is not a better way. People who care about the less fortunate come out to help when with no help from government. They volunteer and serve, causing very little in cosmetic effect." O'Farrell says, "We must help the homeless while maintaining some order in the surrounding neighborhoods. Preventing the desperation of hunger is good for social order. Promoting mean-spirited attacks on the homeless and volunteers may get you points with the business improvement districts, but it will make you unpopular with the voters. The best course of action to deal with those who provide food for the homeless is to leave them alone. Permanent supporting housing and support for volunteer food lines is great, but with over 58,000 people in the homeless people in the county and half of them in the city, it will be a drop in the bucket.
Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Walsh, I lost your card, but I found it. But now I want Mr. Juan Akala, Dr. Williams, Arnold Sachs, and then Mr. Walsh.
All right, a few interesting things happened today. We learned that Obama is deporting more people than anybody else. Obama, you should be deported to Africa. You don't belong in the United States, you little African idiot. Oh, it's racist, isn't it? But why are they always pitting the blacks against the Mexicans? Why do we have a system that pits people against people? Why shouldn't we have a world where people are only people and we should have no borders? And why should we have a military machine that can suck up everybody's work and lifetime earnings just to feed the hunger for power and destruction? Obama, you are an idiot. I voted for you because you promised us change. And city council, who the hell are the homeless? Huh? Aren't they people like you and me? I hope to see you all on the street this Christmas because you lost your little last job. I hope to see you over there begging for a little bit of food and another set of videos restricting you from getting anything to eat. Never mind that you don't have a place to live and you have a billion cops kicking you everywhere to everywhere else. Moving the homeless from one place to another is no solution. Changing the laws of real estate so everybody has a home is a permanent solution.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Williams, followed by Mr. Sachs, Mr. Walsh, and Mike O'Gara. In fact, I don't see Mike, so we'll say Richard Robinson. Go on, Dr. Williams.
Dr. Tom Williams, Sierra Club Water Committee, representing the chairperson. She wasn't able to stay around. But the basic element that Sierra Club would like the city of Los Angeles to do is not pay the bill for the Bay Delta Conservation Plan. It's flawed. We're reviewing it right now. There's a lot of problems with this new reliability issue. First off, we are doing it right here in LA right now. It's called the Integrated Water Plan. We have the plans to make it more reliable. We need to have the city of Los Angeles, through the state legislative program, to oppose the Bay Delta Conservation Plan and the environmental impact report that's being prepared, and that is being reviewed right now. It doesn't work. In order to have the peripheral tunnels, you got to have more dams on the Sacramento tributaries. Big problem. That was Arnold Schwarzenegger, 2010, the water plan, the new water plan. Without it, the tunnels don't work. So we're just biting off one piece, and then we're going to get hit with another piece. As soon as the tunnels are ready to go, you need more water for them. There's also a matter that most of the water won't come across the Tehachapis. The water will stay in Kings County, Kern, Tulare, all the agribusiness facilities, so that they no longer have to use their hydropower in the San Joaquin Valley as money-making. It's all about the money.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sachs, followed by Mr. Walsh, followed by Richard Robinson. Yes, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Arnold Sachs. Very quickly, at this week's Education and Neighborhood Committees meeting on December 17th, there was a motion put forward to have a LAUSD hearing, state of LAUSD region by region hearing in the council chambers. And so I wonder what influence the city council has over LAUSD that they would need to have a hearing in city council chambers. Do they have an influence on the budget? Do they have an influence on the programming? Do they have an influence on the hiring, firing? Now, they may have an influence in trying to get some people elected to the school board, but that's above and beyond the local population's influence and the influence of the city council. That's usually the mayor's prerogative. So instead of an LAUSD hearing, why not have some hearings about some things that are relevant to the people that live in the city and outside the city, like Measure R program, or better yet, 15% local return Measure R program. You know, a good portion of that is going to a streetcar in downtown LA, whether you like it or not. How about the structural deficit that the city faces? How about sidewalks? How about days like that on a budget? You know, there was a story in this week's LA Downtown News that the new person hired at the convention center, the general manager, made some changes. They eliminated 100 positions that were employees of the city. He hasn't been there 1 week, so you know there were some negotiations involved. But in 5 years of hearing economic craziness, the city council never took a step. How about a hearing on some of that?
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Richard Robinson. Yes, sir.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. The city, out of deference to any anti-Semitics who are watching this, you can't see my Jew lip. It's a long, but you'll hear my Jew lip. Okay. let's start. This is a great year. We won. The judge kicked out your environmental impact report. We saved Hollywood this year and the whole city from traffic chaos. Read what the judge said. We won, you lost. In court, over and over again. Federal court, the Zuma Dog decision. You kicked Zuma Dog out of this meeting. Another Jew you treated like crap. What did the judge say? We have a right to say anything we want here, any kind of language we want. Okay, down under. That's where the mayor is going, down under. 15-day vacation. I don't know who he's going with, but I will say right now that Rene Dake was appointed by the mayor of the city, president of the Planning Commission, because she was the sister of the mayor's boyfriend. That's why. And I'm telling you, that is on target. Just as it was on personal lives impinge upon your job, just the way when Monica Lewinsky gave a blowjob to Clinton, it wasn't just his life. He got impeached for that offense. We're telling you right now, we're doing a great job. We're winning. And I really don't like when a gentleman with a $2,000 suit, Mr. Krikorian, pisses all over the public. He's an arrogant ass. HollywoodHighlands.org. And I'm telling you right now, you treat us the way the Armenians were treated by King Farouk in the Ottoman Empire. Now you're on the other side. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Robertson, a different kind of general public comment person.
Mr. President, members, I was asked if I'm a preacher. Reverend, I said, no, I'm a Christian. He naturally was somewhat puzzled, so I added that Jesse Ventura is correct. Organized religion has become a sham. Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me. He didn't say go to the store and buy a rocking chair. He would, these and many works, we are doing today Jesus' work. If not for him, we wouldn't be here. St. John 3:6, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. The relationship that you and I, the love relationship that you and I, the believer, have with God is spirit. We're here today for one reason and one reason only. We got to understand he climbed up on that cross. But let me make this point. Don't kill each other. Don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about the things of itself. Sufficient unto this day is the evil thereof. I want you to understand that this planet is surviving. We are going to survive. What we have to do is what we are doing. 1 John 4:8, God is love. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Mike O'Gara. Is there a Darrell Gale? And a Evelyn Charming? Please come forward. Alexander Nagy.
Hello, I'm Charming Evelyn, actually. Evelyn is my last name, not my first name. And I would like to say hello to all the City Council members. Today I'm here on behalf of the Sierra Club, Angeles chapter, in opposition to the Bay Delta Conservation Project. There is a lot of money that is going to be spent, and we would like that money to stay here locally. Please invest that money in our local water infrastructure. You will be hearing a lot more from us next year, and I'm sure you all know that the EIR was released. So this is us putting you on notice, letting you know we oppose this project. We want green jobs. We want those jobs to remain in Los Angeles. If you invest the money in Sacramento, these jobs stay in Sacramento. The unemployment rate in Los Angeles is high enough already. So please take that into consideration. We also would like you to conduct a cost-benefit analysis for the Bay Delta Conservation Project. That has not been done to date as yet. So we would like to encourage City Council to do that. We'd like you to encourage and oppose the Bay Delta Conservation Project, and do it all in the name of keeping our local water infrastructure, improving it, improving our water mains, which are in terrible shape, invest in local water conservation, invest in water reuse and water recycling. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you Alexandra?
Yes, I am.
Followed by, is there a Walker Foley? Foley Walker?
Not in the room currently, no.
Alfred Sattler or Sutler? Please come forward. Okay, the floor is yours, miss.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. President and council members. My name is Alexandra Nagy, and I'm the Southern California organizer with Food and Water Watch, a nonprofit watchdog organization that works to keep water a public good and a human right. Today, Food and Water Watch is joined by 8 LA neighborhood councils, the Sierra Club, Southern California Watershed Alliance, Environmental Water Caucus, and ratepayers and advocates to call on Mayor Garcetti, LA City Council, and LA DWP to oppose the unfair rate hikes and property taxes proposed to pay for Governor Brown's massive twin tunnel project known as the Bay Delta Conservation Plan. Since the EIR was finally released last week, we did host a rally at 12 noon outside the main entrance to stand in solidarity with our partners across the state that are opposed to this project. The 35-mile-long, 40-foot-wide Twin Tunnels project is estimated to cost between $25 and $54 billion, forcing LADWP to increase water bills and property taxes from $20,000 to $4,500 per household. This twin tunnel tax would not bring any new water to LA. I repeat, the BDCP will bring no new water to Los Angeles. The LADWP's water plan calls for reducing its purchase of imported water from the Delta by 30% and increasing its local water supply through cost-effective measures such as replacing aging water pipes, cleaning groundwater, and expanding water recycling. Yet large corporate agribusiness in Kern County and the Westlands Water District support the tunnels on the condition that they will secure massive amounts of water from the Delta for themselves and continue to be subsidized by taxpayers and ratepayers in LA and throughout Southern California. We need action now to protect Angelenos from unfair rate hikes that could jeopardize the development of necessary local water projects. We encourage Mayor Garcetti and the City Council to oppose this wasteful project and prioritize investments that create local jobs and protect our environment.
Thank you very much. And sir, if you please come and identify yourself. And I'm still looking for Walker Foley or Foley Walker, and then Brian Barajas. Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, as the case may be. My name is Al Sattler, and my sympathy and thanks to all of you who are working up here on our behalf. I live in Rancho Palos Verdes. I live one block out of San Pedro. I call it Greater San Pedro. I urge the City Council to oppose the Delta Tunnels proposal to spend tens of billions of dollars to construct two 35-mile tunnels through the Delta. Here in Los Angeles County, water conservation efforts have significantly decreased per capita water use, and there are numerous additional opportunities for conservation which we have not yet implemented. LADWP has been a leader in this and should continue to do so. Of course, if the Delta tunnels were to be constructed, the price of water would increase enough that everybody would be conserving a lot more just to keep their water bills down, but that's another issue. Damage would be done in the Delta. A recent column in the Los Angeles Times by George Skelton quoted two geologists pointing out that there are no earthquake faults under the Delta and levees have not been significantly damaged by earthquakes in the past century or more. There are fixes that can be done to our water system in the Delta without building these tunnels. And strengthening the levees, operating the water system in such a way as to not impact our salmon, are things that should be done long before spending tens of billions of dollars on an expensive boondoggle like these tunnels. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian, are you still here? Barajas?
Okay. My comment is directed to the citizens of the United States. It's very simple. Under the Brown Act, it's very, it pertains to the Constitution of the United States. All my statements is well within the jurisdiction of that act and the federal Constitution. That's the fact. It pertains to your lives. That's the fact. If I make statements like Lyndon LaRouche, he is saving the United States and around the world nations. So if anybody has a problem with that, then you're the problem. And you're committing crimes against humanity by making utterances that has nothing to do with the public interest. So let us now direct ourselves to the interest of humanity as a whole, because this is the duty of every individual from now on. I think it's very clear that we are in danger. That's a fact. The very fact that Wall Street is alive and well, the very fact that they're committing crimes against humanity, genocidal activities, and the very fact that they control this president, that's a fact. So let us restore the republic, not a pure democracy, of the United States. Let us join in crushing Wall Street. Let us join in establishing a real economy, physical economy. And let us get back on the road where JFK took us.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes general public comment. Where does that bring us, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, Council has motions and referral.
They are posted and they are referred.
The desk is clear.
Okay, announcements. Mr. Huizar.
Mr. President, I just want to wish all my colleagues and everyone in the city family happy holidays, that you have blessed ones. You spent some good time, not only spending time with your families, but I know a lot of us also spend time with our constituents in our district, and God bless you all. And even to our regulars, I want to say happy holidays to all of you as well, and to the public. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cedillo.
Let me add my voice to that. It's been an incredible 6 months. It's an honor and privilege to serve this incredible city. You have provided stellar stewardship and leadership for this body. A handful of us are new here, and we're finding our way about, but with your leadership, I have confidence that we're going to do our job and do it well. God bless the great city of Los Angeles, all its residents, and wish them peace and love for this holiday season.
Thank you very much, but you guys make it easy. Please know that. Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much, members. This Friday, your whole constituencies are invited to the historic merry-go-round. We'll have a free movie nights, Christine, any Christmas movies, shorts, cartoons, and free rides on the merry-go-round that our office is going to pay for. It's anytime after dark, come to the merry-go-round. And the historic music that you'll hear. It's a fun time to be there. Get out and hike over this break and enjoy, as Mr. Huizar said, our families, our friends, and we thank our staffs and the sergeants and the sound man, Kenny. Can't do without Kenny. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year.
Happy everything, Mr. Labange. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to announce that excuse me, the MTA is providing free service on all buses and all trains from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. on December 24th and December 31st, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So anybody who
is out celebrating and perhaps imbibes a little bit too much should know that MTA is there to get them home safely, and they should plan accordingly. MTA can serve as your designated driver for free. All buses, all trains, free service from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Thank you, sir. I'll just say that I provided you with some something to hang on your walls, your offices if you don't have anything. I hope you enjoy it. Also, be well over the holidays, and I'll see you. We'll all meet again January 7th, I believe it is. So with that, let's go into our adjourning motions. If everyone would please, Ms. Martinez, everyone would please rise. If everyone would please rise for our adjourning motions. Thank you. Ms. Martinez, I think I called her.
Yes, I have two adjourning motions. Today I would like to adjourn in memory of Lieutenant Colonel Denise Edwards, who passed away on December 6th after a long battle with cancer. Colonel Edwards joined the Civil Air Patrol as a 14-year-old and remained active for almost 60 years. Serving as squadron commander of Hawker Senior Squadron, safety officer and emergency service officer in Los Angeles County, Group 1, and as emergency services training officer for the California Wing. In 2010, Colonel Edwards was recognized as a California Wing and Pacific Region Ground Team Member of the Year, and in 2011 received the Exceptional Service Award for her lifetime of service to Civil Air Patrol. Her dedication to public service went far beyond her work with the Civil Air Patrol, having served as a firefighter for the United States Air Force, an instructor in search and rescue for the National Search and Rescue School, FEMA, and the American Red Cross. Colonel Edwards was also a trauma nurse and a wilderness medical expert among her many other talents. Colonel Edwards will be missed by all who knew her.
Thank you.
I have another one.
You have another one.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
I ask that we adjourn in memory of Eddie Reed, who passed away on December 13th. Eddie served as president of SEIU Local 99. His leadership of SEIU Local 99 culminated a lifelong passion for justice and workers' rights that began as a young child when his family moved from Louisville, Kentucky to Los Angeles in search for a better life. Eddie was very proud of his 34-year career as a bus driver with LAUSD and took on union leadership among roles almost immediately after joining LAUSD, serving as union steward on the Transportation and Labor Management Committee and on various contract bargaining teams. As an LAUSD graduate himself, Eddie cared deeply about the students who shared his bus route, serving as a friend and as a mentor. Steering the union through these difficult economic times, fighting to retain state funding for home-to-school transportation, and rallying custodians, cafeteria workers, and many more school workers to protect funding for student services. Most recently, he led Local 99's effort to save the breakfast in the classroom program at LAUSD, providing services for special education students and defending full-time bus drivers' position. Eddie, I will miss your smile and your passion for kids. May you rest in peace.
Thank you. And Mr. Labange, if you'd hold, I think it's appropriate to kind of jump in on this because SEIU 99 lost another leader in Jeanette Humphreys that many of us know. She was a member there for 4 years. She was a solid supporter, an individual that you could count on. At one point, her younger daughter worked with me, and she will definitely be missed. Mr. Cedillo, you might want to say something on that as well.
She was a great union leader, a great rank and file leader, a woman of a tremendous integrity and commitment to the working men and women of the district. I traveled with her often, her and her daughter, and she really was the salt of the earth, if you will, type of union leader, because she came from the ranks, and she really expressed the sentiments of the rank and file. and I'm very sad, Mr. President, to hear this at this time. May she rest in peace.
Me too. I just heard it late yesterday. So I think Mr. Labange.
Members, I ask we adjourn in memory of Melvin Lee Van Horn, who grew up in the Midwest, born in 31, but came here in 42, lived in Venice. He graduated from Venice High School and later served the United States in the Korean War. After that, he got a job at Hughes Aircraft and worked there successfully. He passed just recently, and his daughter, Soroya Inman, is one of our sister city friends. He's survived by his wife, Angela, and 3 other children. Also, members, I ask we adjourn at Jean Kay, and for those older guys here will remember her in The Honeymooners. Along with Jackie Geeson, she played Trixie Norton, and she was Ed Norton's wife, and just a wonderful, dynamic person who was very active in her years as a resident of Toluca Lake. She lived a full life. God bless her, Jean Kane. And finally, I ask we adjourn in memory of Ray Price, who's one of the greatest songwriters and singers in country music. And he had an era. There was Hank Williams era, then there was a Ray Price era. And often he would do duets. He did a great number of songs with Willie Nelson in duets. And the one famous that you will all remember, Don't Look So Sad, I Know It's Over, but remember the good times, for the good times. Ray Price, 91 years old. Great American, great songwriter, great singer.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I ask that the council adjourn today in memory of Professor Larry Berg, who was the founder of the Jesse Unruh Institute of Politics and Government at the University of Southern California. Many in government in Southern California knew Professor Berg for his work there and for being a nationally recognized commentator on government and politics. Professor Berg also served for 10 years as a member of the South Coast Air Quality Management District, where he distinguished himself not only as an advocate for clean air, but also as one of the earliest proponents of Southern California's environmental justice movement. And he was deeply committed to civil rights. He was a nationally known expert on the initiative process and was widely published in that area and many other areas of politics. And on a personal note, I think there's probably no one person who is more responsible for my going from a general interest in government to a lifetime commitment to public service. He was my first political science professor. It was his class that got me involved in an internship, which led to my first job in government. And he has done that. He has been that mentor to so many people who've gone on to service. Senator Martha Escucha would be one, and there were many, many others who knew and loved Larry Berg and benefited greatly from his service at the University of Southern California. He will certainly be missed by all of us, as well as by his many family and friends. He's survived by his wife of 29 years, Anita Kiefer Berg, his 4 children, Andrea Berg McKinney and her husband Jerry, Michelle Berg, Scott Miller and his wife Angela, and Daryl Miller and also his 4 grandchildren, Odin, Aiden, Devin, and Cassidy. Memorial services have not yet been arranged, but I'll announce those when they become available.
Thank you. Any more on my right side? Any more adjourning motions on Mr. Weezer? Okay, seeing none. Again, everybody have a happy holidays, and this meeting is adjourned. See you on January 7th.